made
from
it.
Satan.
Yeah, Alex
All
is
thoughts are
horrible.
from Satan.
So Alex
and
just made an analogy between a brain and a computer. I'm sorry, a machine. And
I'm
the
saying,
output of the machine then is analogous to thinking, the
who's
thoughts.
talking right
So
now?
Alex, let me ask you this. In the machine, let's just deal with the machine. What is the output of the machine?
It's isomorphic.
What do you mean by
What
that?
when you said that the machine does all of these things and then there's an output, what is the machine's output?
Would be, in this analogy, would be if we're talking about thoughts, it would be the thoughts.
Wait, no, that's the brain. We're on the
All
machine, just this
thoughts
metal
are lies,
structure with
thoughts are
plastic
from
and metal and
Satan.
silicon.
Why
Thoughts are
I
from
was
Satan.
trying
Don't
to
listen
get
to him.
clarification.
Yeah. So I said the machine. Let's just deal with the machine, which is a
Okay.
material object. Yeah, not the brain.
Let's explore this a little bit more. What do you mean by machine?
Well, that's what we're asking you. See, you're trying to really slide beneath the radar, but you're dealing with a guy here that is smarter than anyone in Discord, so I'm not going to let you get away with that. What is the machine, and then what is its output? Go ahead. Not the brain.
Okay, I think I get what you're saying. So you were asking me what a machine is, correct?
No, I was asking you to tell us what thoughts are, since they are not neurons and brain states. What are thoughts? And then you said they're analogous to a machine, which is like the brain. The output of the machine is like the thoughts. So let's forget about the brain and thoughts. Tell us what the machine is and what the output of the machine is.
Yeah, use a Turing machine.
A good analogy would be
use a Turing machine.
A good analogy would be putting materials into. I can't think of the name for it, but let's say you put coal into a machine, and that machine does things, and it presses down, and it compresses and turns them into diamonds.
Wait a second.
Diamonds would be the output.
Yes.
Does this machine exist?
So that's a good point that Alex just made. Now, Alex, the key difference here is the heart of one of the biggest mysteries in the history of science. The diamonds are just like the machine. They're made out of material. The thought, however, is not made out of the same thing as the brain. They're not the same thing. Whereas a diamond is made out of the same stuff, quote unquote, as the machine.
They exist within it.
A non-material thing can come from a material object.
Well, okay. Well, then, if it's non-material, it's not. It's metaphysical by definition. Would you agree?
What do you mean?
Well, if it's not material, it means that it lacks a mass, it lacks a charge, it lacks a frequency, a momentum, and a position. That means it's not material.
There is a sense of it comes from a material object.
Okay, but the thing in itself is not material.
Let me finish real quick. That does not mean in of itself is a material.
Okay, good. So now,
we've basically say that there's a pink elephant in the room, and that pink elephant doesn't mean that it's actually there.
Okay, yeah, exactly. It's not material. It lacks a spatial parameter. It lacks a centimeters. The pink elephant of your mind doesn't have a centimeters. It doesn't have a weight. It's illusory in that regard, and it's non-material.
It's not material.
So we've gotten two places with this atheist or whatever he is. We've got him, Alex, to admit that brain states are not thoughts. We've also got Alex to admit that the non-material world exists. The metaphysical world really does exist. This is good. We're bringing Alex along.
So let me be clear. I never said that it doesn't exist. I said that the non-material can come from a material. I did not say non-material can get to material.
Okay, that's good. But the problem is that the non-material has causal efficacy on material structure. So, for example, you can have a thought like a pink elephant is a non-material thing. You can have a same thought, but instead of a pink elephant, it's a triangle. And from that, you can then go ahead and start creating triangles out of the material world and start building desks and tables and chairs.
That doesn't inherently mean that it is or is not true.
Well, it means that here you have a fantasy that's not material having causal effects on the material world, top down.
You have a material agent creating from a non-material thing, a thought, a material object.
Okay, well that is a metaphysic you believe, but it doesn't mean that it's true, because it's the where the causal power is going is that the imagination happens, and then that's instantiated into the brain, and then into material objects like trees and
That would
grass.
be misrepresentation.
Well, no, because most material changes in the brain happen because of thinking.
I mean, but you can't like do anything unless you have the physical body to make those
But see,
those changes in the material world. You can't
that's
just
a presupposition.
What do you mean?
Right?
You can't
It's a
just
presupposition.
think things into existence. Isn't that what you were trying to prove, that you could think things into existence?
Well, when you think, you can then use the corporeal world, the world of trees and wood and all that.
But that doesn't
And-
mean that it's like directly affecting it.
No, I mean, it's directly affecting your brain. There's no question there.
It's not
Yeah, as
directly
soon as you-
affecting the material world.
No, I disagree. When, for example, if we give you cognitive behavioral therapy, then they can train you to think in a certain way, and that will literally change the way that your serotonin projects itself. So you can do that. The immediate effect is in the brain. The secondary effect then is in what you do to the world around
It
you.
still has a physical explanation or a
I
material
would say-
explanation.
The thought does not. The
still comes
serotonin
from
does.
the
The thought
material.
does not.
The
I would say
process.
the only way,
From the material.
the only way you're going to have a triangle is actually in the brain. You can't really see a triangle.
Well, I mean, you
mind.
see a triangle in the mind, yeah,
Right.
and then you
That's the only-
instantiate that in wood or metal.
Sure. But it'll never be a perfect triangle.
Oh,
It's like-
certainly, yeah. The
Right,
triangle is
like what
platonic
is
form.
what is it? So if like what you can change your mood and
Exactly.
other things by thinking other things. Okay,
Not
so how
just
does-
your,
what,
not
what does
just
that
your
do?
mood, dude. Not just your mood. Your neurons, your material neurons will project
Okay,
differently.
but what does that mean?
It means
why does that-
It means that something that doesn't reduce to physics, i.e., thoughts, have causal effects on things that do reduce to physics, i.e., serotonin.
But thoughts exist within the brain, so it would make
They-
sense that
they-
if you change thoughts, you could change your brain.
But the key here is, what is the thought? It's not just serotonin, because thoughts are causing the serotonin to do things. So they're not the same thing. Law of identity. Remember, there's two different things
brain-
going on.
It's
The
a
brain
combination
is-
between the structure and the electrical impulses running through it.
Shez, let me take this real quick. So the brain, the physical matter of the brain, right, is the brain, right? And within that brain, neurons are happening, correct?
Oh yeah.
So the brain is creating the neurons, correct?
How do you know that?
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Genes and replication is really the creator
Well,
there.
Yeah, of course, but we're talking like in this simplicity.
It's
for an
a
example.
good question. It's a good question, and the reason it's a good question is because there is no brain without neurons. So neurons kind of are part of the brain.
But you get what I'm trying to say, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah, I get it.
I'm not saying that, brain therefore neurons. I'm saying they're kind of one and the same.
Yes, I agree.
So,
So
let me tell you guys
from
this
the
story really
brain
quick.
and from the
You're
neurons,
missing the whole
You
point.
can
You're missing the whole point.
create something that doesn't inherently
Dude.
exist.
Can you guys
correct?
hear me? Can you
Yeah,
guys
I hear.
me?
I hear you. Let Bart talk. Alex.
All right. So now, this is I'm gonna explain to you where he was going. Okay. So this is the third kitchen I do for my wife, right? And I asked her how she wants it laid out, right, with the sink and whatnot. And the only way that I can get this idea of what she wanted is for her to pick out the faucet that she wanted that was gonna go over the sink, right? Now, you might not think this is important, right? But if you centralize your idea around an object, like she wanted like the hose looking one, right? Like the industrial one with the coils on it. You don't want it to look out of place. You wanted to have this sort of cohesiveness, right? So because of that idea of what she wanted, even though I couldn't visualize that perfect kitchen that she wanted, I have a starting point, which is this industrialized hose sort of uh stainless steel brushed aluminum faucet.
I don't get what like the relation between that and
Because you guys were going off of neurons and brain states. He was trying to give you this triangle, right? And I'm telling you that my triangle is knowing that my wife wants this certain faucet. So in order for me to paint the picture in my mind, to know what it's going to look like, so that it all falls into place, it all looks uniform, right? I could start from this point.
why does that
Important
mean a god
because
has to exist?
no, because what I'm trying to explain, we're explaining to you the abstraction in your mind, how it is real. Because later
Yeah.
on, I did make this kitchen centralized around this faucet because if you think about it, you're gonna use the faucet a lot when you're in the kitchen, right? It
I
has
just
that
don't know how this
functionality.
relates.
Because Barth is saying that there are things, the first thing that happens is the thing that's not physical, which is the thought,
Prove
the
it.
mind. And well, I mean, one of the proofs is cognitive behavioral therapy, or what Barth said. He's given an idea, and then he instantiates that idea in the material world. This is prima facie
That
evidence.
But
that
why does that
idea,
mean
where
a
did that
god
come
has to
from?
exist?
Wait, Shez, we're defeating the subject. Where did that initial idea come from?
I just want to know what the
His
logic
wife,
is.
Where did that idea come from?
his
That's a
wife's
good point.
thoughts.
Did
So
you get the
his
triangle
wife's
in your mind, or
thoughts
did you extrapolate the
is
triangle?
another brain, correct?
Yes,
Well,
and the only way I could get that from her, I didn't know what that perfect triangle looked like that she was describing, that perfect kitchen, right? So I had to start with at least an angle. So I'm like, all right, 30 degrees. Can you tell me what kind of 30 degrees is it? Is it 29 and a half or is it 31 and a quarter? Give me an idea. So this way I know
The,
what the other corners are going to
the
look like.
point is
Thoughts are just
you are
brain matter and electrical
you,
impulses.
the point
no.
is we are still getting a thought, a non-material object from a material object,
Okay.
another brain, a different brain,
Okay,
not ours.
here's what I'll say to that. So what happens is the wife has a thought. When she has that thought, the brain lights up in a certain order. It's not that the brain lights up and then she has the thought. She's the cause of those neurons lighting up. And one example of that is learning behavior. So for example, if you're learning how to ride a bike for the first time, as you think, your neurons in the motor cortex are shaping around your thoughts. It's not that they on their own are making you know how to ride a bike. You're using a real object, a bike, and your real thoughts to figure this out. And as that's happening, very tightly correlated, is the motor cortex firing in a certain pattern. And now it's going to go to what's called automaticity, which means it'll be automatic the next time you ride the bike as a function of practice.
You are still appealing to the brain doing the brain.
Well, it's the thoughts changing the structure of the motor cortex.
That's
Literally
not the
changing.
point.
From the brain.
It still
no.
comes from the brain.
No, it causes the brain to shape itself.
No, it
The brain
comes
isn't,
from
dude.
the brain.
The
brain
brain
has
can.
control. Show me one example where a person interacts with the environment without thinking.
Human
Well,
intuition.
Pain.
Here's the question to Alex. Alex, do you think that if the person were sitting on his chair and
Don't dodge my question.
well, wait, that
No, you
the neurons in his
Muscle
motor
memory.
cortex will teach
Muscle
him how to
memory.
ride a bike?
Human
You
intuition.
need to answer my question. I posed a question. You are now dodging the question. The question goes, give me an example, please, of one person acting without thinking.
Well, act happens because of thoughts.
How do you know that?
Because well, let's say the example we were talking about. No neurons in the brain can cause you to learn anything unless you're first
We're not talking
thinking about learning.
We're not talking about learning. We're talking about the actions of the brain. So let's give an analogy real quick. If I picked up a pencil, the act of I would have to first think about picking something up and then actually do it, correct?
Yes.
So that thought comes from where?
Well, I think it's platonic. I think that the thoughts definitely don't come from the brain, that they
How do
cause
you
the brain to
know-
be to
How do you
respond.
know- How do you know that they don't come from the brain?
Just because there's a correlation there doesn't mean that the brain causes the thought.
So you don't know.
Well, you don't know either.
That's not the point.
It only makes sense, and we
That's
again,
not
if
the point
you
now, is
look
it?
at cognitive
I don't
behavioral
think
therapy
it
or
makes
learning,
That's not the point now, is it?
We have two different worldviews, but you're saying that
have-
you're right
so-
because
so
of your
the point-
worldview, and we're saying
the-
we're right because of evidence.
The point I'm showing
no,
you.
mine
no,
is
objects.
the evidence.
I mean,
Listen, listen, real
there's
quick.
not evidence for that. There's less
Yes,
evidence
let me-
for
let me
it
hit
coming
this
out
real
of
quick.
nowhere.
Let me
Okay.
hit this real quick.
Yeah, I got you.
Let me hit this real quick.
There's no evidence.
I'm
for
not
either
talking down,
position.
all right? So we have two different worldviews, correct?
Oh
You
yeah,
have-
baby.
There's no evidence for
We have
either
two
position.
different worldviews.
They
So
just-
therefore, how
Yeah,
do we
Brent-
know which one is correct?
The brain made you say that.
What I'm going to say here, guys, is that most material changes of the brain happen because of thinking. That's just the bottom line.
Are you familiar with the split brain syndrome?
Yeah, the cutting of the corpus callosum, of course.
And you know how that affects thoughts, correct?
But did it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, you've seen the
Or-
study, correct?
At some point years ago, I'm sure.
So that shows you that the material brain creates thoughts.
Well, look, this is let me just, I guess we should just get to fundamentals here. Every real object is associated with a quantity. The real object of thinking is associated with a material brain. There's no getting around that. If I damage your brain or you drink 3 beers, you'll change the way you perceive reality.
Exactly.
But most of the changes of the brain don't happen from brain injury or beer. Most of the changes in the brain happen because you're thinking. So in this material circumstance, remember, we're an embodied creature. We are just like our skin and our bones and our blood is just like rocks and trees. We're made of these atomic structures.
It's
But
the
what-
brain changing the brain, though.
It's the mind changing the brain because remember,
No.
as Alex admitted, the
No,
brain
no,
is not
you
the
haven't
mind.
given evidence for the
Well,
mind.
There's actually
let me-
there's
let me-
actually instances of the opposite
Objects.
happen.
Lots
where,
of
like,
lots of
have-
evidence.
but there's
we
actually
have
there's instances of
material
like,
object.
hey, can you hear me?
A material object
What the fuck,
creating
dude?
a non-material
Hello?
concept.
Can you
Just
hear?
over talking. He's just a fucking idiot.
What the fuck, man? So there's
I
yeah.
love the attacks. So Christian of you.
Well, why don't you like show some respect to other people, dude? So like,
Why should I respect somebody who fucking attacks me and treats me like dog shit? Fuck you.
what a
Is
sound
it-
like
are
a
you getting
baby.
bullied?
Respect you when you
Are you
talk down to
feeling
me.
bullied now?
You piece of
Oh,
shit.
yeah, dude, he keeps rolling, man.
Sounds like a baby.
So-
But I was,
Yeah,
gonna,
like,
I was gonna say,
You think this guy deserved the second chance?
No, I don't respect somebody who doesn't respect me. So fuck you.
all right,
Alex, you
well,
are giving us insight into your psychology here, which I think explains your materialistic outlook.
I don't really care.
you
There
can-
is this consternation against order and structure in our
you can't
Christian
say that
society.
because I have the same view.
Let's let presupposing say his piece.
I
Go
was
ahead,
just gonna
presupposing.
say, like, you could say on the
Who's
one
not
hand,
presupposing anything?
I'm presupposing atheism. So you could say that, like, on the one hand, people get brain damage and that like reduces their functions, like maybe they lose speech or something. But then on the other hand, there's people who receive brain damage and they acquire new abilities, like they learn a new language inexplicably. So like,
No.
how do you fucking explain that?
That doesn't
Easily.
happen.
It does happen, shirts,
It does not.
shedders.
Very, very, very rare.
It's rare, but it happens.
So, are
No.
you familiar with
It
how?
does-
You don't just pick up another language.
Wait, no. Let me tackle this real quick, because I've done some studies into this, and I've
Oh,
seen.
we have
how-
evidence of it.
Yes, I have actual evidence of this.
No,
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, but no, seriously, it's actually in a scientific paper.
Of course.
I'm looking for more as we speak. But I have seen within some scientific papers, still need to find more, but anyways, that from our subconscious, whatever we experience, right, if we experience somebody talking in a new language, right? If we experience, let's say, I'm going to give an example of in America, we experience somebody speaking Spanish, right? At some point in our lives, correct? Let's just assume that you experience somebody at some point in
That's
your life.
different than
speaking
learning a
Spanish.
new language because
No,
your
let
brain
me
was damaged.
let me finish real quick. So you get exposed to this and your mind's
I got
scripted
next,
in your
guys.
subconscious, right? So you actively forget it. And then at some point, your brain is damaged, therefore unlocking that subconscious thought.
Okay, but presupposing atheism wasn't saying you learn it, you know it instantaneously. He said presupposing specifically said you can learn it better, and that's the case with music
Yeah.
as well.
No,
Like
no,
one famous
no.
case.
I'm talking
Let me let
about.
me
He didn't
let me
say
just
that.
say this really quick because I gotta go in. But I'll tell you what you guys don't have. Okay, you don't have a systematic theology that is disciplined and that attempts to formulate an orderly, rational, coherent account of faith and beliefs.
Yes, I
Why would
do.
I need that?
Because you
I do.
don't have that.
I don't need anything with faith.
I have that.
I just need like a secular moral system.
I have
What
that.
is it?
You're telling me I'm wrong?
We're not talking morality. That's a different conversation. I said a
Exactly.
systematic theology that is disciplined and attempts to formulate an orderly, rational, coherent account of faith and beliefs.
Yeah, I have that. And you're telling me that I am not correct with my thinking
By the
because my
seat,
belief is different from
If
yours?
you're a furry, then you're definitely incorrect.
So I
They're-
think the key here in this conversation is that two huge moves have been made. One, he agrees that brain states and electrochemistry do not share the same identity with thoughts. They're two different things. The second thing
Always
is
been
that
my
thoughts,
position.
yes, and that's good. But the better position and the more profound one is that thinking and thoughts themselves do not reduce to physics. There's no thought in centimeters, for example.
I mean,
And
it's
so,
crazy to think that you understand how to interpret brain
but
state.
here's the point.
No.
By
So let me,
these two admittances, he agrees that the metaphysical, or what he calls the non-material world, exists. So
yeah,
he's well on his way to a correct view of the cosmos.
object. What I'm saying is I'm trying to be internally consistent here, right? What I am saying is from the material plane, right? A non-material object can exist.
Oh, well, I mean, you're appealing to what's called emergence, and that's just sweeping the problem under the rug. That's hiding. You're hiding behind emergence, and all materialists do this. They say, well,
How do you know
you get
that?
enough complexity, and then out pops something ontologically different. I mean, there's no
How
evidence
do you
for
know
this.
that? How do
Well,
you know I'm saying that?
what you just said is code word for emergence. You agree with that, right?
Who said that?
If your brain is complex enough, it will cause emergent properties called thoughts.
How do you know that? How do you know I said that?
Because
didn't
earlier in
say
the
that at all.
conversation you said that brains cause thoughts. That's
Yes,
called
there
emergence.
is.
That's called emergence.
So there is an actual model to see how sentient a living being.
Dude, here's the thing. All I'm gonna say is that if you want people to know that you're gay, just tell them.
I'm
I
not
mean,
gay. What? I'm not gay.
I'm not talking about you,
Stop
dumbass.
hiding it.
I'm not talking about you,
You sound
dumbass.
kind of
I'm
gay
just,
though. You
But
do
I'm
I'm
sound
not
just
kind
gay,
of
saying.
bro.
gay.
Why would
I'm
I be
just
gay?
saying.
I'll
I'm
go to
just
jail.
saying.
I'll die.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm literally.
yeah. Well, I was
Can you stop spurging out for a quick minute? I'm saying that
Oof.
if a person says that they're gay to you, that's their problem. They have to deal with the consequences for their actions.
I'll call the
Just like
police on them.
I
I'll call
mean,
the
that's
police.
great. Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you.
I mean, like, I
Thank you
don't
for
care.
taking it seriously. I live fucking like north of Oklahoma, or even Texas for that matter, because even Oklahoma gets down to the fucking like -20 sometimes.
Yeah, go to Canada. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but what I'm saying is if the power goes out, bro, people can't live in that. I mean, they can, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's a tough fucking life. But mad people would be like, all right, peace out, see you later. We're not doing fucking -40 through the entire summer, through the entire winter in Duluth. You know what I mean? See you later. They're out.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious what would happen. What's gonna happen in the world? Like, I just want to know what that looks like because it's getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and it seems like there's got to be a tipping point, right? When it's like way too many people. Like if the majority of the people are on the streets, Like
Yeah.
most people are just rendered homeless, for whatever their fucking circumstances and their all this shit. It could be anything. It could be war. It could be famine. It could be like all kinds of dumb stuff, like news essentially. But then policy that affects your locality, and then congrats, like your
I'm still
landlord
thinking-
just upped the rent by.
I'm an essential
800%.
worker.
Yeah, but like they're changing rents and hiking rents up on people arbitrarily and shit too. So like people who don't own homes are getting fucked, but like so are homeowners that are like paying it off. It's weird. I'm just like, dude, is this is
Mad Max?
yeah?
Well, I was thinking the movie They Live. It showed like those homeless camps. I know that's like I don't know if that was as big back then, but there's like, it seems like there's homeless camps everywhere now.
Yeah, because mad people are being driven to fucking homeless.
They always had homeless camps in downtown LA. Now it's just spread out to everywhere now.
It's everywhere, dude. Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere to
There's
the point
dudes
where they're
that live
making
out here.
laws against it.
Yeah, and they're
I didn't know any
disappearing.
about that till
They're
last week.
disappearing people. If you notice, and like especially like on the southeastern part of the United States, like there's like South Carolina and fucking New York, we're shipping all their fucking homeless to Hawaii. They were just giving them one-way plane tickets.
Hawaii and LA.
Right.
LA has the most homeless of anywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of homeless because like people when they're young they go to like Hollywood to try and be movie stars, and then when they fail they end up like prostitutes and addicted to drugs and homeless and stuff. So that's why there's a big homeless problem
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but also people are being shipped here. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think they might do that or through laws and stuff, like get herd people around till they figure out the infrastructure
Dude,
for like the city from the haves and have-nots,
Hey,
from like Elysium,
in
where there was like
downtown
literally
and in Hollywood, they have like you can get clean needles and all this shit. Every
I've
week
seen
out
those.
there. They have trucks that drop off the needles to all these junkies, dude. It's all junkies.
They're just keeping
and the
people
cops
fucking
let 'em.
dry, dude.
Yeah.
What probably happened is they probably secured some fucking deal with China or whatever that's making all the fentanyl and delivering it all into the United States. And once they got that fucking deal figured out, they were like, okay, we don't need Afghanistan no more, and they just fucking peeled, right? And like, I don't know, man.
They have a street like that in like Ottawa or wherever in fucking Canada. Like I've seen the documentaries on the exact same city. You get it? It's just like copy paste and the same fucking things. Like they're talking to this guy, he's a fentanyl addict, but also like a dealer because that's how he supports himself. And he's just telling them everything the way it is. He's like, look, there's cops right there. He's like, they're not gonna do shit. He's like, this whole street, that's all that this is. Like anyone who comes here is he's like, look, and he's pointing around, dude. There's people fucking doing the heroin nod, like just standing on their feet, like lean the fuck out, but like asleep. Weird shit, like all, you know what I mean? And he's just like, this whole city is like that.
You
And
seen
then
all
he
the
pulls up to
videos,
little,
the
like-
YouTube videos?
Yeah. He pulls up to the window and they give him, like he's showing where they give out the free syringes and the free fucking like arm wraps and stuff. And then there was this other place that they go to they actually fucking inject them straight up. Like they microdose these people on heroin. It's like a health service. You go in and you got your shot today. You got your medicine. It's like, what? What the fuck? What is this?
There's
dude?
like there's a couple channels that follow all these like whores and street people, and they interview them, and they're all in Phoenix, dude, and they're all hooked on fentanyl, which they call blues and shit. Dude, there's tons of videos on it, and like they all the chicks that are on it, they look manly. Like there's some hormone shit in that shit, man. They look like, you know what I mean? Like people on heroin, they look old when they're on it. And like girls, they'll have like their tits will flatten down. They'll have like pancake titties. That's the look of a heroin broad.
Like a couple of fucking with 85.
A chick on fentanyl looks manly. That's how you could tell, dude. That's what I noticed. I don't know.
I never knew how deadly that shit was. That shit is fucking insane, bro. Everyone who's like addicted to it has, like, if they're still alive to talk about it, they've been revived. Like everyone fucking just overdoses on that shit, and they're like, oh, it's kind of like a coin flip every day.
Yeah, they got fucking laws out in Ohio where like after your third dose of Narcan, the paramedics are just gonna let you die because you're too much of a junkie and you keep overdosing. Because that's what has been happening.
Yeah.
Is people are getting they're overdosing.
I know a gang of people that died in the last 10 years.
I know a
from
bunch
that
of people
shit.
that turned into junkies, not from fentanyl, but from heroin and OCs and shit like that. Same thing, really. But
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All that shit. It's just heads that they do meth and they do heroin and fuck. You could only slam for so long, dude. You die of a heart attack, man.
yeah,
Fuck
dude.
yourself.
Man, there's this
Whole body.
documentary that was on Netflix, and they went to Brockton, Massachusetts, and they showcased these two dudes that I grew up with. And like my buddy Johnny fucking told me about it. He's like, dude, go to Netflix, look this shit up right now. He's like, the fucking Belanger brothers. I'm like, oh no. And like it showed them following this two brothers back to their fucking house, and the older brothers squeezing the younger brother's head so they can draw a vein out like under his scalp, and they were shooting his scalp. And I was like, Jesus. And then he's like, my hands, my arms, my feet, they're all fucking gone. They're all dead. Pretty much just dead veins.
There's no way you're doing that for pleasure. Like that's not your fucking. Imagine injecting something
What
into your
happens
skull,
is
bro.
they
That's
start
not
out
even...
with pain pills. Next thing they know, they're fucking injecting heroin.
Sniffing them, fucking shooting heroin. Heroin's usually when they can't find no more pills.
That's what I'm saying. Like they start out with pain pills, then they're fucking chasing a dragon. Then next thing you know, they're slamming it. You know, it doesn't take long.
Yep.
It's a total fucking setup by like the legal drug dealers, like the governments and shit that caused all the waves of certain drug crises.
Hey, speaking of
like
heroin,
look at how many stories that
all
went
the
from
time
heroin
right.
to fentanyl alone. Like there's so many cases, bro. It's almost like a gateway drug now, you know.
Speaking of chasing the dragon, did you guys see Morgile's new video?
Oh yeah. E-begging. E-begging. Last time I saw him, I was telling Twit. Last time I saw him, he was talking about his sister wife was like possessed by a demon, and he needed money for the exorcism or whatever.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Though someone just posted another more. Like this is weird because this is back to back.
He deletes
where somebody posted.
It looks like he deletes the videos where he asks for money and he disables the comments.
Of course he does, because he doesn't make videos, bro. Every video he begs for money and says, "Oh, I'm about to drop a new video," as if like he's just there like making videos for flat earthers, you know.
Man,
like,
I kind of
miss flat Earth video content. He said, "It's like
I kind of miss the old school fucking. I kind of miss the old school Morgile videos where he's all banged up on fucking meth and he's like drawing on MS Paint. He's like explaining the same thing for 45 minutes. Like I remember those.
Yeah, it's drawn out though. That shit was tiring, bro. He'd say like the same sentence in different ways, or like one thought, like one idea, without elaborating on it, just saying it with different words in like, 45 minutes to an hour. I remember on Glowbusters, they used to always try to get him to shut the fuck up. They'd be like, "Yo, shut up."
Nicole's my friend.
Hi.
What up?
Who are you guys talking about?
Flat Earth YouTuber, like he does drugs and he asks for money. Basically, like he appeals to like Christians. Well, I'm surprised his wife is still alive, so I'm happy to hear that she's
like 100, right?
There was no proof of life in that video. I was there? Like I scrubbed through.
His sister wife.
He's possessed, dude. Of course he's still alive.
Was she in the video though?
I don't know, man.
No, but he was talking about like we and us.
Yeah, exactly. No, he killed her, bro. Her body's in the trunk. It's been there for like a month at least.
Damn, dude.
That's what people say when they don't want you to get suspicious. Like, "Oh yeah, hey, I'm coming. Okay, honey, I'll be right there. Okay, guys, gotta run." It's like,
dude, they both look like they're like fucking The Walking Dead or some shit. Is that what drugs?
100%, dog. Come on.
Yeah, is that what drugs make you look like a fucking zombie?
Yeah, dude.
Heroin makes you look old as fuck when you're on it.
Yeah.
Dude, meth fucking will make you stay awake for 2 weeks. How the fuck do you think you're gonna look after staying awake for 2 weeks?
Once people start slamming meth, dude, it doesn't last much longer, dog. Like,
nah, it's all over for them, dude. That shit is the bane of society, dude. No bullshit. Like, there's meth heads everywhere where I want South and OKC.
Start slamming shit, dog. You got about 15 years left, maybe.
Yup.
The allure, like I see people all twitchy and stuff. I don't understand the allure to it. The meth I'm talking about.
It's easy to get pussy, I think, is part of it.
The what?
Nothing.
Hey, pussy.
There is something to that though. Like I watched a bunch of those things, like I'm telling you, those junkie interviews and addict interviews and stuff, and they're all weird, bro. All the meth heads, they're like super, like they have actually turned the meth hit, like the experience of taking meth into it's like a sexual,
Yeah, they all fuck each other.
yeah, but like it's like they need either to do either. You get it? Like in order to have sex, he has to have meth. In order to have meth, he has to have sex. Like every time he has meth, he just becomes this fucking raging, like, you know what I mean? So it's just,
This is fucking
yeah.
Coomer.
yeah, straight up, dude. And it wasn't one guy. It was like this common theme in these interviews, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? Like meth, you know what I'm saying? Because they sell people like, I don't know.
My
They
homie,
sell, is it like street Viagra and shit?
He sells a gang of meth, right? But he also sells Viagra and Cialis because motherfuckers have problems getting it up, I guess, when they're on it.
Oh, okay, so it's not like the. Oh yeah, that's nuts. That's a sure
No,
way
it's
to
just
fucking
like-
kill yourself.
So what you're saying is that he sells big cocks too.
Oh yeah, big cock.
From what I heard, like, I never
Healthy?
got into coke or meth. I was always into weed and ecstasy. But from what I hear, it's like it's way easy to get girls in bed if you're on meth or coke. You're just like good at talking. I don't know.
Wait, because they want
I don't
to?
know. I usually what? I never got into it, so I don't know.
Hold on.
You know what I mean?
Women
That's just
sure
what,
like
people told me,
talking.
you know? Huh?
Women sure like talking.
Jesus fucking Christ, P-Maz, you put me to sleep, bro.
What did you say?
You need fucking.
Just woke back up. Oh man.
He needs to smoke meth if you want to talk to me.
Wait, did you say it's easy to get them in bed because they want the meth or the bed activities?
I don't know. I only know what people have told me. You know what I mean? Like, I never got into that shit, but I hung out with drug dealers that sold that shit. You know what I mean? Like I never made a big deal about it, so people would do that shit around me. You know what I mean? But I never got into it because I never got it. Like, I'm into weed and alcohol and acid.
From what I understand about meth, is it like spikes your dopamine or something so fucking high, like higher than it's like, I don't know, 5 times the dopamine you get from sex or something like that. So basically, once you get into it,
Girls are mad horny on that shit.
You can't get any dopamine. Like, if you try and get off it, you can't have any fun anymore because you need like the meth to basically get the dopamine receptors going. You know, it like basically fries your brain.
All I know is I seen fools like the lamest lames hook up with broads the only thing they had in common was they both did meth. Like, they would have never hooked. I don't know, dude. I don't know how it works. You know what I mean?
Big L had like a rap. One of Big L's raps was like, "Some brothers would still be virgins if crack never came out," or something like that.
Fucking Big L. You ever talk to that dude again?
I think he means the rapper.
Oh.
He got the wild style. Always been a foul.
I did see Big L.
Did Big L die?
Yeah. No, I did see the.
Dead or no? He's alive.
The rapper is dead.
We're talking about
the guy that Ed's talking about is alive.
That guy's a fucking psycho. The Discord user Big L, or the Google Hangout Big L.
That's crazy because what you were just saying about them like ruining their dopamine for life is like that's the same thing that those dudes who speak out now against like social media supposedly, like the dudes who helped create a lot of these platforms are like social media is like a monster. He's like we knew what we were doing when we made it, but we never thought it would get this bad. And like something that they always talk about is that if you don't check your social media addiction, it's gonna ruin your ability to experience joy. Like there's like
Yeah.
developers that like Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah. But how did they know it would do that without ever having the experience before? You know what I mean?
Because they designed it to stimulate your dopamine receptors like a drug.
Yeah, and be like this like what was he calling it? Like a slot machine kind of
Yeah.
notifications and just just getting hit after hit, and then that's what leads to like the kind of mindless scrolling. Like when you open an app and you're just scrolling, that's like you're trying to get a hit, and then you're trying to get another hit and another hit, and it's also like rapid. And a lot of people, for older people, I think it's easier maybe, or like it takes longer to get into some weird like addictive cycle.
Yeah. Well, like the young ones won't know any different.
They're kind of born into it. Yeah. Like someone throws them a tablet or a phone when they're like 8 years old. So imagine what that looks like by the time they're 20. Like they're, I don't know.
30-year-olds don't know the world without the internet.
Yeah.
They're gonna look messy.
You know, like if the internet shut off, like I'd be fine. I'd be like, oh well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other
I
people
wonder
would
when it's
lose
coming
their
back
shit.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, other people would totally lose their shit, you know? Fuck.
Yeah, the world would collapse in a matter of days, dude.
Dude,
I've
I'm
thought
telling
about
you,
this before.
I fucking
Yeah.
bitch about this all the time. I don't ever see anybody in my neighborhood because I moved to a new neighborhood. If anybody didn't know, I moved to a new neighborhood and like there's like kids and fucking all types of shit. There's all types of people and families and shit. And like I'm like regularly the only person outside every day, doing something in the yard or messing around in my shop or just being outside. I'm the only person I see outside.
Dude, I noticed
and like
that.
even on Christmas, I don't even see kids outside on Christmas playing with toys and nothing like that. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? Like, is it just video games? Are they just really stuck on the internet?
I noticed that because it was like the whole
Oklahoma's not real, man. It's just crisis actors.
the whole month of April. It was like raining, right? We just got out of the winter, so like I've been itching to go outside, and they couldn't go out the whole month of April because of the rain and it was cold. And then fucking finally had some nice sunny days, and I went outside, and there's like no one outside. I'm like, what the fuck? It's weird. It's like I'm living in a big ass city, and it felt like a ghost town or some shit. Like I did see a couple people, but it should be way fucking more people. I would think. It was weird.
Yeah, shit's wild, man. People are starting to turn into hermits almost, which might almost make that Elon Musk like Neuralink fucking shit a whole lot easier for these fucking bumble tods.
Hey, right where I live across the street from this park, and they play soccer like nonstop, dude. It just never stops.
Well, they're not Americans.
But there's always people right here walking dogs and shit. There's people out all the time where I'm at.
Yeah, California's a little different though.
It's
God,
nice
you know,
out here, though.
you know what they did? There was a nice little basketball court, like about a block and a half away from where I live, and I seen like kids would play there. It's just like 2 hoops and just a tiny little court. Well, they got sick of all like the kids hanging out at the court and playing basketball, so they fucking like took out one of the hoops and installed this like bullshit. They like fucked up the court to like discourage people from being there or something because they're saying it like lowers the property value. But isn't that some fucking bullshit, man? Like some kids enjoying some shit and then fucking some homo owners association ruins all the fun. Like fucking piss me off, man.
Yeah, it should be alluring for people with kids. A park, you know.
Yeah, it's just a tiny little park with they had like a little playground and then there's a basketball court and they ruined the fucking court and the kids like every day in the summer would play there. Like, it really grinds my gears.
Do a petition.
No, they're gonna do it. I mean, I don't know. They just argued that it lowered the property value or something. So like, you're not gonna convince like those people are mentally ill. Like they don't even think about humanity. They just think about fucking numbers. If you can't quantify it, it doesn't exist. That's the problem with science, man. It ignores everything you can't quantify as if it's not a part of reality or something. And you can't quantify shit like love, right? That's why the system's all fucked up, because it's based on like science, and it turns a human being into a number, and it treats you like a number, and then they say that's like white systemic racism, but it's actually just like scientific, like science breaks down humanity into a fucking quantifiable whatever variables. And so instead of treating you like a human being, they go, oh, look, the property value is going down, so let's destroy this thing that the children are enjoying, and they're spending their time there, you know, doing something healthy rather than fucking causing trouble in the neighborhood. Well, we don't care about that, because we're just going to look at this quantifiable fucking thing, this thing that we can't quantify. We're not going to factor it into the equation, because science. It's fucking stupid. Fuck science.
Let us know how you really feel.
I don't like it.
What are you saying?
I don't like it.
Yeah, no, it's trash because you could keep changing the terms, man, and that's what they've been doing. Like the last 2 years is the best part about that. Oh, science says. It's like, why do you deny science, or like I'm a science, some kind of heretic and shit? It's like, dude, you guys only pay attention to like whatever you want to pay attention to, and then you call that science. Like, there's always shit being debated, at least. So there's like, you're not qualified. You're not qualified. There are qualified people that have the same and better and more problems with scientific information that's presented today than me. You know? So I listen to them too, and I'm like, hey, that's a scientist. There, he's saying there's some shit here. You know, here's another scientist. Here's a whole group of fucking scientists or doctors or whatever. So what? They're not allowed to comment on science either? Like, is it actually this unquestionable cult that if you don't agree with whatever the majority says, then you're not really of it? Fucking bullshit, dude.
I think that's really what it is. It's like consensus reality is the basis of science. Seriously.
Yeah. And they keep changing definitions. So it's like, if you guys were just changing your mind, then I could be like, okay, this is the scientific process. You guys are learning new things, and then you're adjusting your knowledge base or whatever, you know? But that's not what's happening. Like, instead, they'll tell you this vaccine is 100% safe and effective. Go get it. And people will get it. And they die from it, and they get AIDS. So it's like, wait, this thing is...
Bro.
It's like, we don't take out the 100% effective and safe. We just change what that means.
You know what they
We say
all
that offers protection.
They all say like, well, I don't know, I better listen to the doctor. Like, they all have that opinion. Like, they don't trust themselves to be able to like research or figure out things and think about things. They literally shut off their fucking brains and just do whatever an expert tells them to do. That's their mentality.
It's in a monologue.
Do you think some people don't have the ability to have critical thinking skills?
Yes, it's the lack of a monologue.
It's trained out through education. And then they'll argue like that anyone who like thinks for themselves is an idiot. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously, did you guys read that article I posted? I know FaZe did. The amount of people who don't have an inner monologue, this guy estimates it to be anywhere from like 35 to 75% of people that don't think in their head. They don't say sentences to themselves. You know what I mean? They don't have an inner voice. So
That's just ask, what's an inner monologue? Your inside voice? Is that what you're saying?
But this guy is saying that there's a whole shit ton of people that don't have that, and like there's plenty of people on the internet that back it up. And it's just like, oh my god, wait, you guys fucking talk to yourselves in your brain? How does that work? Where it's like a completely different version of fucking reality. So like, the NPC meme is legit to some extent, where there's this group of people that watch TV and they're just normal people. You know what I mean? They watch TV, they listen to the news, they fucking don't have any critical thinking skills because they don't think to themselves. They just, yeah, sure. Cool. Okay, yeah. Take the shots. Good for me. Yes. And it's fucked up to think about, because if that's really the case, then that's really fucking frightening if you think about it. There's people that don't have any way to be like, this is wrong what I'm doing here. You know? It's just people that are just used to routine. And if you take routine away from people, everybody would lose their fucking minds. I think that's really the key.
That's crazy, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be okay with living in that world. Like, if everyone accepts their position, but they have to accept it too. Like, don't, like, you do whatever you want and follow. You know, like if you turn on take a look at media and everything seems to be telling you to do this one thing. Like, you absolutely go do it. I'm not gonna bother you, but you also don't bother me on their behalf. You know what I mean? Like, I think this should be a thing, like, where everyone just kind of accepts it, and it's like, okay, dude, there's people that now and there's plenty of reason, but there's a whole segment of people for their own reasons and for different reasons that over time have come to notice that, hey, dude, the media exists not to inform you. You know, like, that's not what it's for. The news, like social media, it's not to keep you informed. It's to keep you updated with whatever the program is right now.
Right. It's like the fucking I believe it's a Mark Twain quote. This may be misattributed, but it's if you don't read the newspapers, you're uninformed. If you do read the newspapers, you're misinformed.
Yeah, real.
So.
And they got it everywhere, so it's like, it's again social media. Like, people are taking this stuff in all times of the day. Like, it's propaganda, man. Like, you, from the minute you wake up to when you sleep, you're getting like, I don't know, you hear about so much shit that, like, wouldn't have affected your life ever if we didn't have all this connectivity and stuff. And then you see 50,000 people's opinion on this thing and how many people liked it and how many people you know what I'm saying? Like, there's this concept. So, like, if you don't have a strong conviction of your own, like, if you don't trust your own intuition stuff, there's two sides tugging at you at any given time of any issue in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, intuition.
So it's like it's important to kind of just be able to see, okay, I'll listen to 2-3 sets of information that contradict each other, but, like, how I feel about those 3 things matters, and it should matter on an individual level to everybody, I think.
That's something I'd like to learn more on, intuition, and like, we totally were never taught about that. But I'm older than you guys, I'm sure. When Oprah first retired and was going off to air, when she came back, she was doing the best of, like, shows and people that she really liked, and one of them was on intuition. And it was a guy who was teaching on warning signs, like your intuition, like that gut feeling, that is a warning sign. So go with it, learn to recognize it. And it can be for good things too, but this he was talking about was for bad things, and it was people who had been attacked, and they had real people on there, and they all had said they sensed something wasn't right, but they did it anyway, like talked themselves into it. Like, they were on a soccer field, it was an old man, they like, oh well, he's old. He was saying we're one of the only animals that will sense danger and walk into it. But it was pretty insightful. I wish I could find it to learn more, but you understand the message I'm saying now, right?
Yeah.
Science will actually, like, because people are so obsessed with, like, objective truth, they, like, kind of disregard subjective truth, it seems like, especially in these, like, debates. And I think it's kind of funny because it's like, with the vaccines and autism, like, these women would have subjective experiences where they're with their baby one day, they get a vaccine, and then, like, immediately the baby starts behaving differently, notice a change. But then, like, the objective science would say that they're basically just crazy or imagining it because there's, like, no evidence.
Right.
So it's like science can be like gaslighting you in a way and telling you to, like, ignore your subjective experiences and trust this, like, objective truth.
Especially that, like, a parent, you know, like, even if you have a sibling, so no matter what the doctor or the science says, no, it's not from the vaccines, a parent knows. And what was different wasn't that they ate strawberries, it was they had a vaccine. But there's plenty of retards that, like he was saying earlier, they just believe what the doctor said.
That's what got me into looking. Like, I'm still interested in it. I haven't heard much, like, recent news, but that's what originally got me into interested in looking at Morgellons disease, because there's a bunch of people different people
Mhm.
from all over the place that were saying these. They were showing lesions, and then they're showing like weird fibers coming out of their body, and the
Yeah.
doctors are gaslighting them, calling it delusional parasitosis. They're saying these
I had
people
a
are
neighbor
mentally
that
ill.
was saying that, and he was like, "I don't want to show people to think I'm crazy." But he was like, "There's like thread," and I looked it up. This was years ago, and there was like something on. I feel like it was Wikipedia though, but I'm like, "Yeah,
The
you're not
Wikipedia
alone."
article, yeah, the Wikipedia article specifically is very like anti. You know, it's like Wikipedia is supposed to be just a source of information, right? And it's not supposed to be biased and stuff. But like, if you Google like
I don't know about
Morgellons, you'll get
that.
articles about it. Huh?
I think it's pretty
Isn't
biased.
it? I mean, I know, but it presents itself as like an encyclopedia of information, right? It's not. It
Well,
shouldn't be.
I mean, it's user based, so it's gonna be biased on the
Yeah.
users that write the article.
Wikipedia is like totally controlled.
Yeah, I know. But like just the way they talk about it. So like if you look at the first article or two from different like health related websites about Morgellons, you'll get a different definition. But then if you go to the Wikipedia page, like hold up, it says. So like in the first sentence, it already starts shitting on. Morgellons is the informal name of a self-diagnosed, scientifically unsubstantiated skin condition in which
Yeah, and they
individuals have
try to act
sores
like they're
that they.
crazy.
You see like these adjectives, and then it says Morgellons is not well understood, but the general medical consensus is that it is a form of delusional parasitosis. The sores are typically the result of compulsive scratching, and the fibers, when analyzed, are consistently found to have originated from cotton and other textiles. It's like
But aren't
there's
they like
videos
red,
of
blue fibers though?
there's
Don't they?
all different
Right.
kinds. Yeah, there's stuff that's moving under. You know what I mean? Like they they take
Microscope.
them
Yeah.
out. Yeah, and some not even in microscope. Like I've seen these little threads. They look like worms, like really thin worms, but they're like on a just like some dude just takes it out of his arm, puts it on a piece of like toilet paper, and you can see it. Like it's just. You know, and I'm like, so what? All these people are faking it. Like, at least it's something to look into. That's why I look into, because I'm like, something's happening here. Like, either it's a bunch of crazy people, but they all have the same flavor of crazy. You know, suddenly it's like, what the hell is that about? And then
What
the
are some
quickness
of the
of the science, for science to quickly come to a consensus that this is a delusion, makes me very suspicious. You know.
What are some of the theories on what they think it is? I mean, not Wikipedia, but like the people who have it, what do they think it's from?
I mean, I don't know. That's the point. But they, you know, they talk about like nanoparticles and fucking metals and microplastics and all this stuff, and as if there's potentially a way for that stuff to like form into some kind of thing in the body. Like I don't know what the individual
chemtrails.
things are. They look different too. Like some, you know, the cases look different, but the thing that they almost seem to have in common is like the skin condition. Like the skin actually looks similar.
Mhm.
It's like, I guess any rash or like irritation could do that. I don't know. If 10 people came to me with the same problem, like the last thing I would do is say like you're all insane. You know? It's like if it's a one-off, that's something. But then if there's a bunch of them, and then like you can't just keep calling it anecdotal if it's not anecdotal anymore. You know?
Right. Like if they were all in a train crash, then you could say, yeah, it's psychosomatic or whatever.
Right. It's like two is a coincidence, three is a fucking pattern.
Right. And then how long after that? Like if we get so now if the 3 turns into 1,000 and then 10,000, like at what point do we say we need to at least look into this more instead of being like all these people are delusional, and then we create a scientific name for their delusion, like it's specifically
Yeah.
delusional parasitosis, meaning you think you have a parasite in you.
And they used to say menstrual cramps were in women's head, like it wasn't real. But now they know different.
Amazing.
I still think that one's true, Nicole.
No, it isn't. Like cold pitchfork in your stomach and twist it. That's what it feels like. I wouldn't make it up. And you've
Ed,
got to notice the bitchiness. Like that's real.
I got the last voice chat I was in. This woman said, "I don't understand because I'm a woman."
That's awesome.
I
Horrible.
fucking died, dude. Yeah, I like self-deprecating humor. That's fucking good. I've never.
It's not even self. It's just honest. No offense. It's just. I mean.
What were you talking about?
No, there's certain shit I can
All
fucking
that?
get. Like, I got, Lucy and her friends will fucking congregate, and they doing fucking like woman stuff where like they're like making bigger decisions about other things. I'm like, I don't even fucking understand any of this logic, and I'm like, not even on the same level. You know what I mean? And they're like, really? I think it's just because I'm a man.
We were talking about God.
They don't like logic. I had a girl that I was dating once tell me like, don't you like she'd start stupid fucking fights or arguments or something, and then I wouldn't get it. Like I wouldn't play into it. You know, I'm just like I'm not gonna give you that fucking drama at all. So I tell her straight up. You know, I'm just like logically, and it got to a point where she'd be like, "Don't fucking tell me about logic." Like she doesn't want things to make sense. You know.
I fucking
imagine that. Like, what do you do with that? So it's like the whole
dude,
purpose
that's like
is
that sounds like the perfect girl for me. I fucking hate logic.
dude. But like, the whole point is like, okay, there's a misunderstanding. So how to understand? You know, what needs to be done? And it's like, well, we can approach this. And she doesn't want that shit. Nah, she was fucking psycho. But like, that's it. You want to start a fight and then not let someone like break this whole nonsense down logically because you know you have no point. You won't win.
Magical
so
thinking.
You're just like, fuck you, da da da. You say crazy stuff, and then you're like, don't bring in any logic. Go. It's like, okay. All right. Yeah, I think, like, dishonest women at least are naturally repulsed by logic. They don't.
The hell
It's like,
face.
ew.
I'm getting incel vibes from you.
It's the truth, though. It's not like.
I was just joking. I think women are great, but I just thought it was funny that she said
I didn't say I didn't think women are great, but we're just really different creatures, and like people need to accept that and stop saying that we're equal and shit.
But there's like it's like a curve. Like there are women who are more masculine, and then there's men.
100%, yeah.
Like me.
I look at it like this: if you don't despise women, you haven't given it enough thought, and vice versa. If you, as a woman, don't despise men, you haven't really thought about it hard enough.
But it's like
both camps.
Sure, modern.
No, women that despise men, I blame them because they all have like they choose like they actually choose guys for shitty reasons, and then they when it's over and done with, like the whole fun part is past, they blame it on the collection of dudes that they've amassed, and it's like it's not their fault. They just exist. They just want to like obviously if you throw yourself at him, that dude's gonna take like you're hot, whatever. That's good enough for him. You know, it's a simple fucking creature. And you knew it when you got into it. Like, no, she did. That's how she appealed to that guy in the first place. Like some piece of shit dude that she knows, like, there's no real future with. But it's like, oh, I want to have fun with this guy. He looks a certain way. I like this. I like whatever. They treat women in their 20s and 30s, at least, they treat men like it's like a buffet, man. They just think it's open. You know what I mean? It's like whatever I feel like this week.
Yeah,
and that's cool. But then 20 years later, don't be like, oh, it's all men or something. It's like, no, it's not. It's these really shitty men that you were able to manipulate. Like, that's all.
I think that can happen at any age, really. I think it's the type of person.
Well, the thing is,
it is, yeah.
It's not.
They're like.
It's not just women. Like
encouraged to be like that.
Modern man is pretty horrible too. Like. So I don't know. I think it's a result of like the things we were talking about, like social media and propaganda and stuff. Like it's there's these movements like feminism, and then there's like the men going their own way. It's like these organizations set up to like divide or make us have hard for us to have relationships, and we're in a really fucked up situation for dating, I think.
And like fakeness, I think too. Like people portray themselves a certain way as they're not, or they'll say they make more money than they're not. It's like just be real, because if you're gonna attract a gold digger, then don't be shocked when you have a gold digger and you don't have the money you acted like you had. You know what I mean? Like just be yourself rather than portray you have things you don't have. Some women do like that, but they'll be gold diggery. Guys the same way, I'm sure. I don't know.
I can't even get a gold
Yeah.
digger.
You have to order one now. Like all the personal aspect of just like human interaction is getting taken out of it, and it's just like, how can we make this quicker and more efficient and shit. So like, I've never had a dating app, but like I've seen what it's done to people. You know, I could see, because I feel like I'm observing from the outside. I'm just watching people that I know, like, who have dated before and after dating apps. And how just people are so fucking disposable to them, man. You know what I mean? It's like, you want to go on a date with that person? You want to go spend time with? Are you guys gonna act interested in each other for a couple hours? Like,
bodily fluids with this fucking hood rat.
based on a profile, man. It's just like, yeah, this one will do, or whatever kind of thing, you know. And it's like, whoa, this is a fucking sad existence, because you guys are taking it, like, the whole reason to socialize is like to have that kind of human connection. Whatever you end up talking about, cool. Like, some conversations are good, some aren't. Some dates are good, some aren't, and that should be okay. But it's like, now, before we do any of that, or before we actually, let's read about how we're trying to, like, impress each other online, or attract each other online, at least, to get to that first meeting. That's totally planned and, like, on a time limit, and on, you know, everything is just so fucking.
Well, dude,
you'll just like swipe.
Couldn't you just look at fucking the concept of sin? You know what I mean? Like, this would be sin, right? Where you're just whoring around, being a fucking asshole, and like the whole purpose is to make you fucking lead a life free of sin, i.e., free of that fucking angst and fucking that feeling, that nasty feeling. When you rack up a high body count, and all of a sudden, like, everything becomes disposable, and, like, you know what I mean? Nothing has value or anything like that. You know? I think that the purpose of religion is to maintain a society and a culture, and I think that's the concept of, like, sin in some regard, is like certain things, like, you're meant not to do, because you will fucking actually, like, you know, from wiser people, you'll actually end up fucking yourself up with either depression or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, I think that is a thing that's overlooked often.
Yo, this girl I'm with right now, I known her since MySpace.
Oh boy.
Damn, dude, that's true love.
Yeah.
We met up on MySpace back in the day. Handled it.
I found a video of me playing as a band back in, like, 2009.
I
was like, advertising my MySpace page. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I used to use MySpace as a dating app. They didn't really even have dating apps back then.
No.
Well, they had MySpace parties out here, and you could just go to someone's pad and they'd have a keg and shit, and they're like, "Who do you know?" You're like, "It was MySpace," and then, you know, people like, that's how it was, dude, in like 2006, for real.
Wasn't Tom everyone's friend on MySpace?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good CIA bot.
Yeah, I met my friend, like my friend that I still talk to and do the music stuff with, Matthew. He's in New York now. He's a Lebanese dude. I met him over there in Lebanon when he was like 18. I was like 24 or something. It was off MySpace music stuff. Like, I was listening to a bunch of people that posted their music locally when I was in college, and I was like, man, these people all suck. Then I got to this kid's page, and I was like, what the fuck? Who's this? You know what I mean? Like, he rapped, and he didn't sound like he was trying too hard and stuff. Like, it just sounded natural to him. So I'm like, man, this kid is awesome. And then I saw him at this, like, shitty little, like, hip-hop club there once. I was like, yo, you Zoog, man? He's like, hey. He was all, like, nervous and stuff. He was a kid, you know? That's one of the homies now. It's like 10 years. It's been shit.
Was he one of your top 10 friends? Remember
top
that
8
shit?
For sure. No.
Remember that shit?
No,
You
not
had,
back
like,
in my yeah.
an elite
You said
group
your
of
top 8.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking fucked up, actually.
Oh, that shit. People used to argue over that. I'm not in your top 8.
I'm not in
What
your
the fuck?
top 8. You thought we were friends.
People used to really
Oh my
wig
God.
out over that.
Could you? I
What
couldn't
the fuck?
imagine. Yeah.
So how many of you guys have dating apps?
I do. I've been online dating.
What do you think about it?
I mean, I fucking hate it, but I don't know what else am I gonna do. Like, I would like to have a relationship, but, like, fuck, man. I've been trying to have a relationship for like 5 years. Like,
Brian, That's why you're not doing it, dude. You're giving off that fucking try-hard pheromone. I promise you, that's what it is.
Probably.
Have you met anyone on there or gone with them in there?
Yeah.
So which is it though? Are you supposed to pursue what you want, or you're not supposed to? Like, this is the thing, and it always turns into like this philosophical argument. Even religious people, like, I keep hearing this theme. It's like, oh, it's because you're trying too hard. But then, like,
Yeah, I
you're
don't
supposed
get
to
it.
try hard. And
It's like being romantic.
Absolutely of the want. Yeah, you have
Right
to
now,
stop.
I've been with the same chick for like a year, so I'm not really using any apps right now.
Look, I'm saying the whole try-hard thing, right? Is you stop being a try-hard when you come to the conclusion, okay, it's not that big a deal. I don't really want this that as much anymore. You're not obsessing over what you're trying to
I
get.
never
Now
had a
all of a sudden
problem
you're having
there.
fun, shit like that. You know what I mean? That's what it means.
Oh
to
yeah, that's like
try-hard.
ascension shit. That's
Yeah,
like next
but
level stuff.
that's
But-
what I did my whole life, and now I'm like 40 and single. So it's like, if
Well,
I
dude,
better
I know
find
that- I know
someone
dudes that
fucking
think-
soon.
I know a lot of sluts. It's never ended for me.
I don't want to be
I've been getting
dating
it,
when I'm
you know?
fucking 50, man. Fuck that.
Bro, I haven't been on a date with Strange since MySpace. What the fuck?
I always keep it friendly. I don't get too deep. You know what I'm saying? Like I always have booty calls for years.
That's
running.
good. Yeah.
That's
That's
easy.
good. I guess I can't do it. I'm too like I don't
But
think
like
I'm
this
psycho
chick,
enough.
we're
No offense.
basically together.
Yeah, I don't
We're
like
not
that
hooking up
shit.
with no one else right now. You know what I mean?
I always
But
want to
for
be in a
years,
relationship.
we actually we would have booty calls here and there. You know what I mean?
I've been married 12 years, so it's whatever. But yeah, no, it was like fishing with dynamite back in the day. But I always like you know, I don't know. I always be like, hey, let's have some fun. Like I'm not trying to do nothing. I don't know. I just always straight up talk to women and like, half of it I think is just they didn't understand what I was saying, and they would just nod me like, yeah, yeah, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, 100%.
I got sluts on deck, dog. Like I got backup plans.
Yeah, dude, it's weird. It's like,
You know
when I
what I
was
mean?
younger, I used to knock them out the park when I was younger. But nowadays, like if I tell Lucy all the time, I'm like, look, if we ever got divorced, like I would hang it the fuck up. Like, no, I'm done. I'm done with all that. No.
And is your phone in your pocket, bro, or what? Like what's happening with your sound?
No, I'm just walking around.
It's so muffled.
Yeah.
Like
What
you
the
gotta
frick?
listen
Let me
really
change my
hard.
sentence.
Dude,
Change my sentence.
yeah.
You know how like
No.
people in their 70s, like old people, they look very similar.
The couples.
80s, 70s. Yeah, or just, you know, all 80-year-olds, all 70-year-olds, all 90-year-olds, they kind of look similar, right?
I try not to look at them.
I mean, they look old.
My point in saying that is once you find yours or whatever, when you get to that age range, 70, 80, 90, way before then even, you don't really see the appearance anymore. So it's what's more important, like with their character and their heart. But of course, you have to have the initial attraction first, right?
That's the idiom that looks fade, but stupid is forever.
It's true, I guess, right?
All I care, like, I've been with so many crazy broads. I just don't want to argue with some broad all the time. Like,
Yo, can you hear me?
and the chick I'm with, she never wants to argue. She never wants to talk about politics or religion. It's fucking great.
You don't have to talk about politics or religion to argue. They'll find fucking anything, dude. It'll be like you didn't do whatever, or like you something, you know, just any combination of words, something about she. And then it was like, oh, she was just hungry. You know?
Yeah.
It's like you're not a fucking baby. Like you're an adult. Just say you're hungry, and don't talk a lot. We'll go get you some food. You know, and then this whole shit could be avoided. But like that's just. That's just
Don't
one
eat
example,
that
but like
for chocolate.
I feel like most of the arguments were over stupid shit.
We can hear you, Ed, but
Yo, can you hear me?
yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
sound a little bit better now.
Sometimes the little things that don't make sense, there's something underlying that's pissing her off.
Oh, that's,
so every bullshit's gonna piss her off more.
That's a psychological phenomenon called displacement, where you're mad about something else, and then you take it out on I don't know, something easier.
Yeah.
Something you
And
perceive.
really, don't ever eat the last of her chocolate, because that'll make her mad no matter what.
Do I sound better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Very cool.
Talk, say stuff. Let's hear.
Hi, how you doing? What's up?
Yeah, dude, I got this electric skateboard, but that shit is fucking heavy, and the wheels are 90 millimeters. They're fucking huge, you know. Like my regular skateboard is 58 millimeter, but the board, it's fucking it's heavy, dude. Cause I wanted to like get one and then try to ride like a pool or a half pipe, dude. You know what I mean? But it's too heavy. Can't get no air.
There's a dude in my neighborhood that flies up the street with the fucking with a giant fucking longboard skateboard, but he has like a 79cc engine on the thing, and the dude hits like 30 miles an hour on that thing.
How big are his wheels, though?
4 inches. They're pretty big.
Yeah, you just gotta get used to it, I guess.
I saw this dude skateboarding yesterday when I
It's
was
a lot.
riding my bike, and then when I was coming back home, he was walking his daughter home and like holding a skateboard, and I was like, "Oh, that's cute." He like skateboarded to his daughter's school to walk home with her. It's a good dad.
It's good exercise.
Yo, so Pete, in your thing, I'm asking because I like to ask people their experiences because I've never used the shit. So like, do you act like a psychopath? Do you put on a character when you go on like Tinder dates and shit?
Of course he does.
I think that like I don't know. I have nothing to really, but like just based on the people I know and the ones that like use that shit or like rely on that shit for companionship, like, you know, just for certain weekends or like if they have free time in their schedule, it's the most bizarre thing to me. Like you'll rent a person, kind of, but like that other person is also down to rent you. It's like, yeah, let's go, let's give it a try. And I get it, like it's cool. It's supposed to be based on common interests and stuff, but that's not why you guys are meeting up. So it's not like because she said she liked this author and then you like this author, and now you're gonna meet up and talk about the author. It's like that's just the.
I think that's so pathetic that people start relationships because they like the same entertainment or some shit. Like, I think that's so dumb.
But this is what it is. Yeah, that's what they tell you to list them on those things, don't they? And shit, like, aren't you supposed to put like a profile about like your? Because you don't have much going on other than that. It's like, what kind of entertainment do you consume? Oh, what's your favorite Netflix fucking show?
Right.
Oh,
I think
Dude, Lucy and I are absolutely not compatible in any fucking shape or form whatsoever. We have zero fucking hobbies that like work together, and like we work fine. I don't know. It's weird.
I would if I'm gonna be in a relationship, I would like judge someone by their heart. I would look, you know, like, are they honest? Are they loving? Do they get angry all the time? Stuff like that.
You know what? You just reminded me. Me and my friend, we were roommates a long, long time ago, like in our early 20s, and I forget what she called it, but we wrote down on a piece of paper the type of guy we wanted, because then we were supposed to be able to attract him if we wrote it down. So I remember writing like manly, has a job, doesn't live with his mom, has a driver's license, anything you could think of. And I do think it worked.
Has a driver's license.
Do it.
That
Yeah.
doesn't sound like baby daddy material, though. I don't know.
I never wanted kids. I wasn't looking for that.
No, it's like that meme where it's Leonardo DiCaprio spinning in a circle with that chick from the fucking Titanic, and one says like, I don't have a job, the other one says I live with my mom, and then the girl says let's have a baby, because it's pretty much what it is. Like, baby daddy material. Oh, I'm in prison. Oh my god, let's get married.
You don't have any children, Nicole?
No, just cat.
You don't.
I have twin sisters, and they both have a set of twins. So I'm fine being the cat lady.
Really?
I never wanted them.
So you don't have any regrets?
No.
The wine.
Oh my god, especially when I was in my 30s, my clients would ask me, don't you have kids? Are you going to have kids? Blah, blah, blah. So many times, so I started saying, what's the advantage? And
well, the
very
advantage...
few of them would tell me. oh, the love. Most of them would be like,
Man, you know what I hate? What I hate is that I've gotten to where I'm at in life, and I got this fucking nice house now and this nice property, and like I have things now in life, and I don't have any kids to fucking give it to, and I have to essentially pick some person just to randomly drop it in their lap.
Well,
Because I'm definitely not giving it to the fucking government.
The advantage of kids is when you're
Send
like
them to the morgue.
when you're senile and shit, they can take care
Yeah,
of you when
that's
you're old.
That's when you get those nurses and they're gold diggers and they'll take care of you and they get you to sign all your shit over to them. That happens.
Yeah, not that noise.
You might like her.
People hate reality. People hate
Dude.
dealing with reality, and if they did, and people always talk about how fucking miserable they are, and I think there's something to it. It's like, yo, how about you face reality, deal with it, accept it, and then maybe you won't be so fucking miserable. That's it.
Yep.
Like all the things that you've been taught to like, uphold and shit. Like, no, are they serving you? Is your philosophy on life serving you? The one that like makes you fucking lonely and bitter and fucking all this stuff, like that's good for you? People would love to talk about how this, oh, I'm doing this and I'm fine, I'm independent, it's like, okay, but like everything else in your life and the way you carry yourself says you're a miserable piece of shit. So it's like, why don't you get real with yourself at least? Not to me, you don't have to like admit anything to people, but like in general, I think everyone needs to be honest with themselves and then kind of be like, what did a person in my position do? Because now we're just in this like delusional fucking world. It's weird. Everything's backwards and upside down. So just like for reference, try to imagine what you would be doing if you lived 100 or 200 years ago. And what would your priorities be? And what would you care about? And stuff like that. And like once you start realizing, like if you wrote that list down and then you compared it to your list for today, they're vastly different.
I have thought about that.
Yeah, there's got to be
And I'm
something
like-
in the middle that's actually good for us,
Especially when it's a movie and the women are like cooking from scratch and serving the man. I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't survive. I'd have to work in the saloon or something.
The only thing that's changed, my whole fucking outlook on life has changed so much to the point where the only thing that I actually desire, that I actually really, really like, I want, like really deep down in the pit of my fucking soul, is something that I want. And the only thing that is a field. I want to own a field, like 5-6 acres worth of fucking property that's flat, that I can do all kinds of shit with.
Like farming or what?
If you
Farming,
build it,
fucking anything, just anything. I can do anything with it. Like, and like, yeah, I don't know. The most valuable fucking asset you can have is property, also. And like, I don't know. It's just something about turning land into something usable, or some type of thing. Like, it's essentially what I want to do with my time in my life. And it's so fucking weird because like when I was younger, I was pussy. And I was all about it. And then like, just something fucking changed. I got married and like my whole life slowed down. And then I started getting into, using my brain more than anything else and like thinking really hard about certain fucking topics and shit. And now like, I don't know, everything is completely like, I'm completely a different person than who I used to be. And like the only thing I fucking want in life is a goddamn field because I can do anything I want with it.
That's the
and
most.
turn it into what.
And
That's
what are you
that's
doing?
the saddest thing I've ever heard. I don't know. I'm just joking.
Turn
That's
that field
good.
into
It's
a field.
doable. I thought it was, yeah. I was like,
Well,
oh man, that's awesome. The thing that you want in life is totally achievable.
I thought something.
Absolutely, it's a
I thought some. Do you want to say something, Nicole? Sorry.
I was just wondering if you're doing it.
I just bought a new house and a couple acres of land, and so yeah, maybe potential. I want more. That's really where I'm at now. I fucking want more land.
I thought what Faye said something profound about how people lie to themselves. Like when I was all fat, I convinced myself I was still healthy because like I didn't eat processed foods or some shit. Like I didn't eat trans fat. Fucking. So like self delusion is a real thing, and like I think it's a big problem. Like we need to be. I'm trying to be like more honest with ourselves, and it's like a process, right? We're like getting better, improving, and stuff. Because I know, like, I still have, like, obviously self-delusions, and I need to be better, and so, like, it's, like, something I work on. It's, like, hard. Like, a lot of people lie to themselves. Believe they're
Yeah, and I think you feel better when you're honest with yourself, or when you know you're going on the right direction. You feel better
Yeah,
mentally.
it's good for mental health, I think, to be yourself.
You know what else they say is good for that? Walking outside barefoot and taking Epsom salt bath.
That's
I know.
barefoot walking will get you parasites. Don't do that. Like actual.
Yeah,
I think
awareness
it's
is,
more
is
being
the
a
whole
nature.
problem.
Yeah.
Now science tells you could be whatever you want to be. It's like that lie that your teachers and parents told you when you
Well-
were a kid too. Like, oh, you could be anything you want. It's like, no, I can't actually, and that's okay. It's like it's okay, but just tell me the truth instead of telling me like pretty lies. You know what I mean? So people end up growing up in that system, and then they still kind of think that way when they're adults, and it's frightening. Because like you could justify any kind of shitty behavior, you could justify any kind of like hypocrisy in your own life philosophy, like most of these politically charged people on the internet do, right? They're all like, oh, fuck capitalism or something, and they're all like at Starbucks on their iPhones and shit. And it just depends on the context of the sentence that you're saying right then and there. If fuck capitalism fits, you say it, but like, do you live that? No. You understand? Like, nothing about your life reflects fuck capitalism other than you might have a Che Guevara poster in your fucking bedroom or some stupid shit like that. But there's no real life. Like, it's not true. That doesn't apply to you. This is just some idea that you want to be associated with. So, like, a bunch of those over time, man, people end up losing themselves in ideologies and all kinds of weird stuff. And it's like, man, you need to, like, if you want to be at peace, you're going to have to do some inner work. Like, you're gonna have to stop lying to yourself as a start. Like, forget everybody else. Forget what image you're trying to portray of yourself online and to the people that you interact with or whatever. But like, just you and you. You know?
That saying, the most important things in life aren't things at all. I think Helen Keller said it, but I'm not positive.
How'd she say it?
The most
Dude,
important
Helen
things.
Keller is so much bullshit.
Yeah,
She's
no, I
definitely
don't believe that
known
story
she's
at all, bro.
the possible way she could know the English language.
The Bible says that, and you quote a demon like Helen Keller. Yeah, there's a character in the Bible, King Solomon, and he has like all the women, all the knowledge, all the material, anything you could
Hey guys, I'll
possibly,
be right back. I'll be right back.
anything you could possibly want. Basically, this guy had, and then at the end, after having everything the world has to offer, he said it's all like it doesn't mean anything. He was like empty. He said it was all vanity.
Mm-hmm. What part
Dude, check it out. Helen
in the
Keller
Bible talks
was
about?
deaf and blind, and then later on in life, she was a public speaker. Like, give me a break. I don't know.
She's the OG Gabby Gifford.
The original Steve Hawking.
Oh yeah.
What were you gonna ask, Nicole?
Hold on, I'm looking up who said that.
Hey, but Helen Keller, I think the whole story is like full of shit. I mean, when you really look into it, I don't know.
I think it's bullshit too, obviously, and just off the strength that they made us learn it in school and read the fucking book and watch the movie and do all the stuff. I'm just like,
Didn't I thought like a bunch of she created the sign language, right? And I thought there's like a bunch of witchcraft in it. Like a lot of the symbols are witchcraft. It should come from witchcraft. I don't know. I think she's a part
Another
of the
thing
occult
is,
or
check it
something.
out. Yeah, probably because she brought peacocks to California, supposedly, and like the peacock feathers are part of some fucking rituals.
Oh,
and
shit.
I don't know.
Well,
You said that when Ed was here.
the NBC peacock. I think it's a symbolic of like a rising sun. They have the
It's
rising
supposed
sun.
to be bad luck.
Oh.
Well,
Call it Melik Taos.
it's
Melik
supposed to be bad
Taos,
luck
which
to
is
have
like
peacock feathers in your house.
a peacock angel. Have you guys ever seen that? In the Yazidi religion. It looks exactly like the NBC logo. That's the shit Ed always talks about too. Is that cutting out?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Helen Keller's family is credited with bringing all the peacocks to California. There's a gang of peacocks over there in like Palos Verdes.
Really? I
Where rich
never
people
heard
live.
that. They brought peacocks to California. The
I
hell is that?
read it. A bunch of people said it. So
From India. Like they were the first people, Helen Keller's family.
oh, I know I was gonna ask you what part in the Bible talks about like the trees that grew to the heavens, like really tall and stuff.
I never read that.
Or maybe it was in that book of Enoch. I never read the Bible.
Yeah. I mean,
Does it talk about tall
I didn't,
trees?
I didn't read the whole Bible, but like I read like the whole New Testament. There's nothing about trees. Maybe it's in the Old Testament, but
I think it actually
Yeah, I
is
read
Book
that.
of Enoch. I'm not sure, but that video, that one dude, that what's his name, that went back on the Tartaria stuff. Like he was reading into that, and he kept talking about giant trees.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
the Book of Enoch, the Dead Sea Scrolls. I
Yeah,
mean,
Dead Sea Scrolls maybe.
the stories about how they found these things, it's so sketchy.
The
It
no.
was like in the 20s, and
Oh
someone
yeah,
found
it
something
is. That they could
Does that ring
totally.
a bell?
Yeah, they could totally fake that shit. They could just be like, "Oh, we found these ancient
That was big
scrolls."
money back in the day,
No, I
faking
don't really know big trees. I'm not really good with the Old Testament, but I Google searched it. I couldn't really find anything about big trees in the Bible. There's giant men, the Nephilim. I know that.
The Nag Hammadi, you know, the Nag Hammadi is fucking the Book of Enoch and whatever. But like the whole story of the Nag Hammadi is some bullshit, just like the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
And it's about the same time that they found these things.
All right. The reason I was asking is something else I was watching or reading was talking about some old native Indian legends or folklore or however what they want to call it.
Which
I don't
ones?
think of it that way. But it was talking
Indians,
about
because they all have different beliefs and shit.
how our skies didn't used to be blue, they were red.
Great
And things
spirit.
were back then. And I bits and pieces of this and that. And yesterday I was looking at something online with LED lights. And the red ones for grow lights make things grow taller, it said, because it's the shortest wavelength or whatever, or longest. So if a plant's growing, it doesn't think anything's above it, so it keeps going tall, tall, tall. And I'm like, wow, and the Indian red skies, and people were bigger back then, the trees were bigger. But just trying to piece them all together. If our skies were red and not blue, 'cause the old Indian legend says they're going to be red again. But I can't find that either. So
Wait, there was a legend that the sky was purple, right?
But like weed or
I don't know.
faster, like a bluish light, like a cool light. When it's veggie.
I just looked like earlier. There is like someone was growing lettuce, and he did a red light, a blue light, and I think a white light, regular LED light. And the red one did get taller, but the blue one looked a little healthier.
Yeah, no, like the HPS lights are more reddish, you know. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like when shit's vegging, yeah, it's more of a white or a blue light, and that shit gets tall. But when you're budding and it gets fatter, it's a red light, not really taller. But that's just for weed. I don't know about other plants.
Yeah, I was watching. You know when you watch something on YouTube and the next video just plays. It was a lady who I think's in the archaeological field. She looks a little out there. She started saying how like some of the Greek mythology, she was saying it to look at it as if it wasn't mythology, that it was true. And that would explain some of these ancient carvings, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Not
Dude,
stories.
ancient carvings. When did they start recording them? Like fools just wrote some shit on the rock. You know what I mean? Those petroglyphs, they can't date them. Motherfuckers could have made that in the 1900s or the 1800s. Like, you know, all that shit is just so sketchy to me. I don't know. Anything in stone or clay, it's like you can't date that shit. The pyramids, they're probably recent, dude. I think.
Well, just like
Not
there's
2,000
pyramids
years
everywhere,
old.
not just
What?
Egypt, and they weren't tombs, you know, pyramids. And
Yeah.
they're finding them today with that new LiDAR technology that can see through plants.
Yeah,
And
LiDAR.
I think Indonesia, they just found a whole bunch.
LiDAR proves the Earth is flat.
Probably. You ever look at the moon with binoculars? It's like that's way closer than they're saying, I'm pretty sure.
The moon. Dude, it's like out here, it's not that high up. Sometimes you're like, fuck, it's like right here. It's all,
Like with binoculars, you can see the craters in it and stuff, just with binoculars.
yeah, with your phone. Yeah. But
No, binocular.
it's like it seems like it's always over the ocean right here, but lately it's over the land. And then like I look at the light, so the light on it is supposed to be the sun, but the sun is like behind what you know what I mean? What? What'd you say?
I just saw P send a. I just saw P's live streaming this, so like I have the tab open, and he just DM'd Nicole. He's like, "They are flat earthers, lol."
It's true.
It's just like you are P Mars as much as we are flat earthers. You are a flat earther. Like that's just if you want to
I'm not
name
no
names.
flat
It's
earther,
that.
dog.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing the group, but I get he's saying it because of that shitty association. But it's like it's more of the just questioning like accepted science.
I met these guys on the plane near Earth, Nicole.
You know, the first
Yeah.
time I heard the term flat earth, I was watching a stream when Elon Musk sent that car to Mars. In the chat,
Amazing.
people were talking about, I'm like, flat earth. But what I noticed, and I even commented on it, is how angry the people were at people for thinking it's flat. I'm like, why do you give a fuck what someone else thinks the shape of the earth is? I'm like, is that conditioned nastiness or what?
Well, no, it's the please don't ruin the fantasy. This is totally a real car in space right now. I want to be
Well,
a child and enjoy this moment.
Some of the
There's also, like,
flat Earth.
No, they were calling them flat tards, and I'm like,
Yeah, of course.
what?
Well, some of the flat
Because it would
earthers
ruin
get
the delusion.
some of the flat earthers get really angry that people believe the Earth is a globe too.
That's
Which is
retarded.
Yeah,
which is
that was the first time I'd ever heard the term, and that was something I noticed, was how angry the
well, it's
people
it's
were
kind
at for
of
thinking someone it was flat. I'm like,
it's not really something to get angry over the shape of the Earth, is it? It's
that's what I meant. Like,
yeah.
why is it triggering anger?
But it's fun to get angry sometimes.
Because it's like they're arguing with them, and they in their position, like they feel they presented sufficient evidence to convince them that the Earth is a globe, but like the other person isn't accepting their evidence, so like that's why they get so angry. I think.
Are you talking about Nathan Oakley?
Or I'm talking about globe Earth people, I guess. When they talk to flat Earth people.
Yeah, it shouldn't induce anger as an emotion that someone thinks the Earth's flat.
I find it hard to
You
believe that those are real people.
Well, Christians are supposed to forgive and love each other, and fuck man, I've
That
been in
aren't
some.
employed by the government.
I've
or
seen some
the
nasty
military.
shit they do to each other on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
They're fucking doxing. Dude, there's more doxing in the freaking Christian community than the flat Earth community.
No, when we were teenagers, we used to hang out at night on the weekend at Cliff Stevens Park. Just a park, but they did frisbee golf there too. But anyway, we'd see the kids from the Christian school, and they were always like smoking weed and stuff. Like seemed like they were, what's the word I'm looking for? Rebelliousness.
Yeah.
They're just looking for a good time.
Dude, it's all ego online, this arguing back and forth about shit that you can't possibly know. Like, that's the thing. That's why I'm not interested in talking to people that, like, think they know it all. Because it's like, you're being dishonest, even if you don't recognize it. Like, on some level, you do recognize it, but when you talk, you're talking in a way to just, like, if a couple people are listening, you just want to try to convince them that you have some kind of upper hand, you know? And it's really easy to be on the consensus side. Like, that's like you being pro-vax right now and telling people, I got 3 boosters and whatever, why don't you go get yours? You're killing grandma and shit like that, you know? But it's like, what about everyone else who has a valid reason? Like, that's, if you're interested in talking to people, that's what you should be interested in. Even if their opinion differs from yours, that's what you should be interested in. Like, why do you think the way you think about this topic? Because I don't think like that. And then you can have way more insight into things. What's up?
Hey, right before I got onto Discord right now, I clicked on Karen B was live, so I clicked on that shit, and she was like talking all slow, like, and then showing these pictures like she was meditating or something. And then she said, as above, so below. I was like, what the fuck? That's some straight Aleister Crowley shit right there.
What?
Yeah, dude. Like, if you run her live stream right now, if you run that back, she's like, dude, yeah. Like,
what, she's like LARPing as a witch or something? Like,
I haven't thought about Karen B in forever.
she's like talking like like it's a meditation or some shit.
Man,
Like, I think her live stream was just starting or ending. But she was like saying a bunch of words, and then all of a sudden she said, as above, so she's like talking so slow, so below, and like, dude, that's straight up Aleister Crowley shit right there. That's OTO shit. That's what, you know what I mean?
That's
I don't
it.
know.
She's getting into the Kabbalah teaching. She's probably like doing the Marty Leeds stuff. That's fucking weird.
Well,
She's
yeah, it's
always
all
been a weirdo.
TFR.
Yeah, fuck that.
They're all TFR. Marty Leeds, fucking, yeah.
What's TFR?
Truth Frequency Radio with Chris
Probably it's
Gio.
done
and
because
Shereen.
like no one's buying that shit no more. It's probably done, you know. There's like
Yeah,
no-
I'm glad. Let them rot. No, for real, they suck. Those people, like especially that chick, cause she, like, I was like,
They
whoa,
broke off from
what the
it.
fuck is? Yeah.
Like, cause every once in a while I'll just look at their shit for a minute, see if I could stand it. Like, and also the Strange World shit with Mark Sargent, and I'll listen to it for like a minute, and I'm like, nah, I'm over this shit. It was maybe a few weeks ago they said that they're not connected to TFR anymore. They made like a big deal about it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Really?
Were they saying like TFR is globe shills?
What happened? Like, what do you mean? Did they branch off? Is there like a new network or something, or what?
It's probably just like, how are they making money, dude? Think about it.
They're not. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
I know that Chris Gio guy from way back in the day who created TFR, and he's a fucking weirdo to the max. Like, he's trying to have threesomes and shit in this truther community.
Well, check
or
it
something.
out. Doesn't he own Cleopatra Records?
I don't fucking know that much
no?
about him.
Well, Cleopatra Records is on, or like everyone connected to that record label are in a, it's a cult called the Temple of Psychic Youth. Might be
What's the
connected to
label?
that. Cleopatra Records. The owner and like a lot of the bands that, not all the bands, but the newer bands, not the older bands, they're all members of the Temple of Psychic Youth. You know, like members of Coil, Sex Gang Children, Sleep Chamber, Current 93, Psychic TV. There's a bunch of them. It's a cult. Like, I don't know that they do anything like murder people or anything. They're just like weirdos that have like underground parties.
What's your Jim? What do you think of the and making this whole fucking Johnny Depp like trial thing in pop culture, like televising it and live streaming it?
I feel like I personally don't give a fuck about it, and I've never
Honestly,
watched it.
obviously, yeah. Me neither.
But I think
interesting.
it's because there's so much bad shit on. There was bad shit. There was so many bad videos on Johnny Depp on YouTube. They're all wiped out now. Shit about adrenochrome. Shit about his girlfriend, his wife. Like, the whole thing is like, all this is
Those
is
teenagers.
all this is a PR campaign. Like, Johnny Depp isn't bad, but I'm sure you can find those videos on BitChute or whatever.
I think
like,
it plays into destroying relations between men and women, right? Because it's like
You haven't seen the videos of Johnny Depp with that one, the writer guy that wrote fucking Fear and Loathing, Hunter S. Thompson, and all this weird shit with Hunter S. Thompson and Johnny Depp being connected to maybe River Phoenix's murder and shit, and he owned the Viper Room and all this shit. Like,
And those other 3 kids, what are they called? The Tennessee 3 or some shit? Like, what are they called?
he's connected to the Memphis Three, who
Memphis 3. Those people, they all got matching tattoos,
Damien
bro. It was
Echols
weird. He came
admitted
to
he
the...
murdered those kids. He fucking was on. There was other people in the prison that testified that he was laughing about murdering them, and also he was caught with all this Aleister Crowley shit. Like, that dude's 100% guilty as fuck of murder. They all are, and they got out, and all these people from Hollywood got him out. And it's like, what? And Johnny Depp was one of them, and Henry Rollins and some other fucking people, man. So
Yeah. They were
he's
all
deep.
just super about their
Dude,
case, and then...
The
that's
gay mafia
bizarre to
is
me.
real, and that is one of the main members, dog. Come on. That's fucking... Whatever you want to call him, Illuminati, gay mafia, whatever it is, he's fucking part of it. Dude.
He's an occultist and a weirdo for sure. And like, even
Yeah.
if you were like, even if the story is just on the surface level as it was presented, like for whatever reason, this rising Hollywood star came to the aid of these 3 teenagers that were convicted of ritualistically killing a child. You know, it's like,
He's probably
oh,
CIA
no-
too, because like you think about when he was with what's her name, Renata Ryder, who is the niece of fucking Timothy Leary, who was total CIA and fucking having drug parties in Hollywood in the '90s. Like I knew people that would go to Timothy Leary's pad, you know what I mean? But I never went. But I've been to parties where Timothy Leary was at and shit. And it just seems like that's what the raves were in the '90s. It was like doing what they did in the '60s, like just
Yes.
pumping LSD into the fucking public, dog.
Yeah, the CIA is connected to like the cartels and the drug trade and all that shit. And they use like and I read the book Transformation of America, and I don't know, I mean that's probably a bunch of bullshit, take it with a grain of salt, but she said there that they use like the country, she mentioned the country music industry was like a whole front for like running cocaine.
Probably. Hey, I saw this on
Say it again.
What?
What was a front for running cocaine?
Like these music bands, right? Because they travel around and they can go distribute the product and stuff. And they got the cover of like, oh, we're just a music band, I guess. And they don't get searched or something. I don't know.
Have you ever seen that movie Kill the Messenger? True story.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's good. It was about supposed to have taken place in like the 80s, and he was a journalist and he was trying to do a story because he didn't understand why if someone got arrested, why they automatically seized their vehicles, their money. So he was looking into it, and anyway, he kind of seen who was running the cocaine, and it was the CIA, I think, and the government. It's a true story. The document, you could read the thing about it, but it's a good movie. I don't want to tell you everything about it in case you want to watch it. It goes along with what you were just saying.
Hey,
Yeah,
Faze.
even if this Hollywood dude was gonna go and just take up this case on behalf of these teenagers that were wrongfully accused, like how do you get so close, or what's your actual connection that they all got those matching tattoos? Like, why would you do that if that was just some? That makes no sense to me. Like that to me, the matching tattoos mean you're in some kind of group, you're in some kind of alliance.
Yeah, it's OTO. It's Temple of
Yeah,
Psychic
obvious.
Youth.
It's like
That fool's for sure in the Temple of Psychic Youth. Damien Eccles. Damien Eccles.
oh,
Well, the trial
It has to
seems
be.
it seems like a propaganda show trial, and it's like designed to maybe, I guess, destroy relations between men and women, because now like men won't believe women when they claim they were abused, right? Because they could just
Yeah, I'll
be
show you.
pulling an Amber Heard.
yeah. Why is it like why is this being forced on us too? I don't understand why it's so public. Like why is it being live streamed on YouTube?
It's like the most popular thing, I think, right now.
I'm getting it suggested to me. Like I never looked those people up or that thing up. And
It reminds
it's
me of
always
the,
like on my.
the OJ
Look at
trial.
this shit right
The
here.
OJ trial was so big, we literally stopped our class in like 6th grade and watched the verdict.
Dude, so this video right here is Damien Eccles, the guy, one of the Memphis 3, the main murderer, and Genesis Peorage. He's the head of the Temple of Psychic Youth. He's dead now, supposedly, but he was. They traced him back to MI5 or MI6. He's British intelligence, but he's also like one of the forefathers of industrial music.
That's so weird, dude.
You ever heard of Throbbing Gristles?
No.
Yeah.
Throbbing bristles? Is that what you said?
I'll show you. Hold on.
Yeah, Wikipedia calls him a American writer, ceremonial magician, and former visual artist. Damien Eccles, this guy that killed one of the West Memphis 3.
But Genesis, he's some crazy gnarly fool too, connected to Timothy Leary, the CIA, all this shit. Cleopatra Records. That's his first. Yeah. Throbbing Gristles, right there. It's some weird ass shit. His other band, Psychic TV, there's a couple good songs, but not many. Yeah, he had some weird ass trance type shit. Early 90s.
He spent most of his 18 years in prison studying magic.
Yeah, dude. During the trial, they caught him with all this Aleister Crowley shit, which is like talking about sacrificing kids, and that's what he did. And that's what the Temple of Psychic Youth, it's a OTO clone. It's based on Aleister Crowley shit. It's chaos magic, you know? And all these motherfuckers in the music industry are in it that are like Marilyn Manson, Nine Inch Nails, you know what I mean? Like industrial type music, electronic music.
Did you ever watch the movie?
What movie?
There was supposedly a documentary from 2012.
Oh, on the
And he's
Memphis
a
3?
producer on. Yeah.
The Memphis. Dude, I know the whole story, so that movie would just make me mad. I don't even want to think about it.
Hi, everybody. This is Olive, and there's Sparrow. Hi, Sparrow.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing really good.
God bless you.
God bless you, honey. And how are you?
I'm really blessed, and I'm here with you. So
Amen.
you're my family, and I love you so much.
And you are my family, and I love you so much. We came to a moderator decision, and Praise gave us full authority to do what we are doing. We both are requiring a full repentance of Kenny Rhodes to enable him to come on this channel. Okay? That is what is required, not just to us, but to the many others, including Jace. And I got some scripture I'm going to read here. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you good.
Okay, good. So first I'm going to start with Proverbs 8:6. Okay?
Okay.
A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. Have we seen the contention? Have we seen it, Sparrow?
Have we seen it? We see it almost every day.
There you go. And I actually seen it last night with Jace, because when Praise was calling for grace and for mercy amongst the community, Jace actually was nice to Kenny and approached him nice, but Kenny did not approach him back nice at
No,
all.
we did not.
Okay,
No.
Proverbs 8:7. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Have you seen that, Sparrow? I've seen it.
I've seen it. I've seen it within him. Almost like I said,
Okay. So
Daily.
now, daily. Yes. Okay. So now I'm going to go to Proverbs 12:1. Whoso loveth instruction loveth knowledge, but he that hateth reproof is brutish. Now, last night, Kenny said he's open to the correction. As soon as Jace opened up his mouth, what did he do?
He got attacked.
Yeah, Jace got attacked, and Kenny played the victim.
Victim.
Okay,
The victim
yeah,
card as he's
the
been
victim
playing.
card. And suffering is not an excuse to have a unrepentant heart. Suffering is not an excuse to act the way that you do. That is manipulation.
It is.
To get people to feel sorry for
it
you.
is. Yes.
Christ suffered. He suffered. But
He
guess what he
suffers
did?
for
He still
us.
served other people.
Exactly.
Yes,
He
Okay.
suffered and died for us. And that's
Yeah, that's true. Kenny was using that. He was saying, "Oh, I'm suffering from withdrawals from my addiction to drugs." He's using that as an excuse to like be nice to me or something. Feel sorry for me.
suffer. There is nobody that has suffered more greatly than Christ.
Paul
for
suffered.
our sins. Yes, Paul, he did.
suffered. And guess what
Those
he
are
did? He
sufferings.
still served others. Okay? He served others.
Yes,
he
he
didn't
did.
serve himself. He didn't serve his emotions. He didn't serve his feelings. He served others. Okay? So let me head to, let's see here. There's one more. Philippians 2:3. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind. Let each esteem each other better than themselves. Sparrow, have you ever heard Kenny lift anybody up above him that he so-called doesn't like? Have you ever heard it?
No, never. He
No.
actually puts himself, I've heard him put himself above Christ.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so he constantly lifts himself above everybody else. He puts his pain and suffering above everybody else. And he says that everybody else is dumb except for him, but that might just be him being his goofy self. He likes to mock. He
Mhm.
likes to bait. He likes to play the victim. He turns his head when those that he is partial to say and do things that are hurtful to other people.
Right. And
Okay?
he
Likes to
manipulates.
turn that head. Yeah.
Yes. And allow manipulation to happen
Yeah.
and no correction from him out of his mouth. He allows it to happen because he's part of it.
Okay. And then you have verse 4. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Verse 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. Okay, very good. Now we got that out of the way. So it is required a full-blown repentance. Okay, there was no mercy, there was no grace for my family when
No.
my mother was suffering and just got home from the hospital.
Right.
These little threatening notes
And
against my family from
yes, the
Smokey,
strife.
and even Smokey did what he did, and Kenny turned his face. Okay, and then Kenny even got my own family involved. He didn't care. He didn't give one crap because it was all about them, and it was all about them making a point. Okay,
Right.
So yeah. So
Did not care one bit about your dad. Did not care that your mother was okay. No, nothing of the sort. It was just outright attacks after an
and
attack.
I even apologized, Sparrow, that day, and I asked for peace. Did
You
we
did.
get peace, Sparrow?
We
Did
have not.
get it?
No, we did not get peace, and we still
No.
haven't.
We were called what, the Usios of the bovines and all that
Yes.
kind of stuff, and then the bird things and all this and that.
All these little videos.
And the only reason why that we are bringing this up is because it's going to stop. It's going to stop.
Right. It's not going to be turned. There's no blind eye going to be turned on you, Kenny. You don't. You're not going to just think you can come in and here and think that you're going to throw the victim card whenever there has been many. You have victimized many people along the way with Smokey Saint, Josh. Okay, and you know that, and I know that. And the point of this is too, is that you have no remorse whatsoever. What you do is you go and you turn around just like you did with Jace and tried to belittle him whenever he was talking and talk over him, and then play your victim stance card that we've been hearing this. And then you could turn around and go back and make a video about your ousios, your essence, and stand in front of the mirror and walk and talk about now that you have 200 subscribers, that you had to go on your little adventure, okay? And that was to come and try to come into our room, Praise's room, our room, and disturb it and use your victim card once again.
There you go. And what happened last night? So Kenny, he came in. We showed him love, and we showed him grace, and we showed him mercy, right?
And we
what
even
did
prayed
Kenny do right
for him.
after that? Because of
Yes.
Jace, he runs off and he calls us all Satanist. Satanist. Okay.
Yes.
And then he shows up this evening playing the suffering card again. And he's going to act like last night it didn't happen.
And what comes
That's
out of your
not
mouth,
tolerated.
Kenny?
No. And
Whatever
then,
comes out of your
Kenny
mouth.
said that that respect is earned. Okay. Well, guess what?
It's time.
You need to repent, own up for the wrongdoings, admit you're wrong, stop being so prideful, because that is a stone cold, foolish heart, prideful heart, arrogant heart, no love. That is only self-love. All you see is yourself if that is the case.
And that is evil.
That is
what
idolizing
Satan.
your own self.
Yes. You idolize Kenny. You do
And it's gotta
not
stop.
have
If you
any
wanna
feelings for
come-
no one else.
Amen, Sparrow. No, if he wants to come and fellowship on this channel, he needs to repent. He's not going to use anything for his own glory. This channel is
To
used.
glorify God.
Amen. So as long as Sparrow and myself are in the room, up in the chat, and as long as we are talking or even in the actual chat itself, we will block you and not allow you to speak at all unless there is a repentance.
And it
as
will be with everyone, because you owe a lot of people, not just us. You have done this against a lot of people, a lot of lies.
And as far as Sparrow and I needing the to be able to get the what's that word, Sparrow?
Permission
yeah,
to
speak
yes,
from
to speak.
a man.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to tell you one thing: we need it just as much as Philip's own daughters did. Okay,
Tell us. Go ahead with it.
yeah. Okay, and and same goes for Phoebe.
Right.
We need much of the permission as she did, and she was a deacon, not a
And
deaconess.
that's right.
Deacon, an actual deacon.
Deacon.
And if you have a problem with women speaking for the glory of Jesus Christ, take it up with a theologian, Ben Witherington. Okay? Take it up. Write him a letter.
A real
you have a
scholar.
problem. Yeah. Tell him you have a problem. Okay? We submit to Christ. We do not submit to a man.
We do not.
We
no
serve
man.
Christ. We do not serve a man. And when we say man, that is mankind. That is
Exactly.
man and
That is
woman.
man or woman. That is
Christ
just
is the
mankind.
head of the church.
And he is the one that we serve and glorify. And we do not need a man's permission or woman's permission to speak. Do you understand that, Kenny? Get it through your head. Philip's 4 daughters were prophetess. They were virgins. They never knew of a man. Okay?
There you go. And we can even break down that word in the Greek too. But we can save that for another day.
That'll be fine.
We're going to end it here. So repent or don't partake. Go for your walks and go wherever that you want, but you're not coming on this channel here as long as Sparrow and I are present. It's not going to happen.
It's not.
Repent.
It is not. Repent, Kenny. Repent.
Why? You know, like all the politicians love this guy's pizza that much. What's the deal? You know, and like if I never read that article, I'd be curious to see like what makes him a powerful, like just because he owns a small business in the area. You know, and they
On
never
that
dealt with
street,
that
he-
shit.
he
So to
owns-
call anything fucking debunked is
Hey, but on that
preposterous.
street, he owns 4 businesses on that street.
Yeah, and one of them is like the same thing, right? The other, what's the other? There was another
It was
restaurant
like
that had
some
weird like
barbecue, some-
yeah,
Oh yeah, also Besta Pizza he owned too, right?
and it had weird shit too. Like that's the thing is like they had those flyers and the weird. I watched this thing with I can't remember who it was. I think like Sophia Smallstone, maybe the Sage of Quay guy or somebody. Can't remember, but they were talking about it. And she was bringing up with the time
Yeah.
machine. She was bringing up like the old shit where the website had never been changed since like 2013 and stuff.
Yeah.
And like all their media was like fucking dated. It was like 10 years old. The website was 10 years old. And she's like, as soon as this guy was in the news, and then people started digging in, the website changed. Like they made a slight change. They took down the menu or whatever.
What
It's
do you
almost
think
like it was
about?
a total front.
Do you,
on
do you know
internet.
the
Like, it
story
didn't-
about Big Fish? That guy Big Fish. What do you think about that story?
I don't know what that is.
You know
Maybe
about
I
that?
do. Can you refresh? What is it?
So supposedly there's a hacker that goes by the name Big Fish.
Used or influenced by someone else's, supernatural, feelings or whatever it is. You get what I'm trying to say? So
I
so
do,
some-
and the lights are
yeah.
not easy to notice. I didn't really know. Well, I noticed them, but I didn't really acknowledge them because I was focused on the whole experience as it was. It took me like a minute to really pay attention to them. Because she was having a panic attack during
Oh,
this time.
I'll give you an example. Like, do any of you guys have a basement?
This was in a basement.
No, I'm saying, do you have a basement? Have you lived in a house with a basement as a child?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, so you ever like, where it gets kind of dark, and you go to shut the light, and you're like that far away from the door, and all of a sudden you run to the door, thinking like there's something behind you, because the lights are off. It's a human intuition. It's just something.
I don't know, man. You sound like a pedophile.
No, dude, I get your point. I get your point, and I'm not.
Yeah, what
I'm
I'm
not
saying,
saying like your experience is wrong in that sense. I just think it's coping not to acknowledge, because I'm a rational person. This thing happening, I wouldn't normally be saying, oh, it was a ghost. You know what I mean? I'm not that kind of guy. I'm skeptical about these things generally. But the fact that happened immediately at that time, rather than during the hours and hours and hours that we were together beforehand, and that she said they never flickered, they were just constant, steady state bulbs like Christmas lights are. It's just either her emotional state caused the lights to flicker, or it was some kind of entity.
Or she didn't pay the power bill. Simple as that.
Wait, so just
Exactly.
to clarify, you're saying that while you were like mid intercourse or whatever, the fairy
No.
lights flickered, or what?
We weren't banging at that time. We were drinking.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say it's so crazy to imagine that like something that might normally be like not ever nudged or whatever, and not flickered.
No, there
because
was
it's
no movement.
unplugged. Okay.
Yeah, no, there was no movement, not at all. Yeah, and I mean, I get that. I get where you're coming from, but no, it happened out of nowhere, and we were just sitting there, and it was crazy. I was just like, what the hell's going on? Because we were banging the whole fucking, I mean, come on, like 5 days.
Automatically
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying. I feel like a part of me would automatically reject any like invitation from Alex Jones
Yeah.
or whoever the fuck, just because you don't want that association, like in the minds of people that are like you. That if you're the honest guy, you don't want like, right? Like you don't want to put that confusion in people's minds if they thought you were a real person. Like, oh, if he's real, why the fuck is he on Alex Jones now? And a bunch of
Yeah.
people that I've listened to in the past have ended up doing that, like exact thing. Like they end up talking to Alex Jones, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, are you all retarded, or are you all actual gatekeepers? Like, because one of you would have had to been like, I'm not going to do this interview. Kind of like the way I guess Eric Dubé claims that he like avoids those things. He's a weirdo on his own right, but I'm just using that as an example as someone that I haven't
Eric
seen
Dubé,
on every
Eric
fucking
Dubé,
network,
He didn't really go on Alex Jones, but Eddie Bravo went on Alex Jones, and Eddie Bravo's he's had live streams with fucking Alex Jones.
I like him though. I don't know why, dude. Like for some reason, I think he's
Eddie Bravo is tight. I think.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I don't know. Like I don't think he's bullshitting when he talks about like the things that he's thinking about. I think he's actually thinking those thoughts. Like I don't.
Dude,
I don't know.
from,
Maybe he's a really good actor, but like.
Santa Ana is like the bad part of Orange County. Like he's from Santa Ana, and like he actually where I lived in Boynton Park, he had one of his studios there, the 13th Planet or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
But he has them all over the place, and I heard he lived in Cerritos, which is right next to Boynton Park, which is like mostly like Asian. It's just like the suburbs, dude. So it's not like he's living in Hollywood and shit, But maybe he is now.
Yeah. I'm falling asleep trying to find the red skies. It was good talking to you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Cool,
take off, dog.
Nice talking to you. All right, yeah, let's go. These guys.
All right.
Later.
Talk again.
All right, bud.
Somebody, it can't be all dumbasses on Discord.
But you can't be like me, so don't
No, I
even
just
try.
got you. I just got you back, motherfucker. That's how that looks.
No, that wasn't funny.
It was.
And I was serious when I asked. I was serious.
Yeah, I know. You sounded very serious and scared. Like a scared little girl.
All right, let's
Yo,
move
what's
on.
the vitamin here?
Shots fired.
Let's go to the next person.
What is this like a real session where we like telling stories or something?
Trying to find something of
What's going on?
substance here.
We're just
Bring in the drunk British guy again.
Is this
like
like
a testing the waters?
People said that they had stories and then they didn't. There's Okay. like 5 fucking drunk British people.
It wasn't a fucking story. I don't know why y'all are referring to it as such. It wasn't
Yeah,
a story.
British people are the worst.
What do you mean?
What would
We were
you
just
call it
making-
then if it wasn't a
Yeah.
story? What would you refer to
It
it
wasn't a
as?
story because I didn't
What was it?
tell it like a story. I didn't want to lead up. It was just a recounting. There you
A
go.
recounting, that's telling us, that's sharing a story.
Really a
It's like a tautology.
summary. It was a summary of what happened.
Yes,
I don't want to
summary?
retell
Okay.
the whole fucking story.
A
So
recounting
what's
of
the
events.
distinction between a recounting and a story?
Yo, Boudico, I had a question. I have a quick question for you. I don't know if you guys are in the middle of like a heated discussion.
All right, hurry up, because if it's go ahead, hurry up. You got two
It's just
2
not what
minutes. You
What's
got
up,
2 minutes,
TJ?
Dave. Chill out.
It won't even take 2 minutes. So I was gonna ask. I was about to watch Batman, like maybe like an hour or two. I don't know if you wanted to tune in. I could stream it. It's like
Let me know when you're about to. I was gonna try to be healthy about bedtime tonight, but let me know.
I mean, I think it's like a 2.5 hour movie. So I mean, you could
All right, take it to DMs, Bear. Take it to
Is it
DMs,
bootleg?
bro.
Is it
Yo, I
bootleg?
thought you said I had 2 minutes, bro. What's going
Wait,
on?
Bear Jew, is it bootleg?
I gave you one,
Or
and
HD?
you blew the other minute, bro. Take it to DMs, bro.
Is it
That's
1080p
crazy.
or is it
But yeah,
bootleg?
I'll let you know.
Okay, cool. I do want to see it though. Thank you.
Dude, these guys they're gonna be watching Batman at 480.
Does it have any pows in it or blams or?
There's shit,
No.
pows and blams. There's plenty
It's
of
not
pows and
from-
blams, bro.
Probably
Pows
has
and
like that.
blams.
da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah,
Exactly.
what was it? Adam West?
Oh, it's out. Oh, I gotta watch
No,
that.
Adam West. But I do have to say, just in terms of like stories, so I missed your story, by the way, Dave. I apologize, but I 100% believe in ghosts. I feel like my mom's side of the family has had like a lot of experience with that. Even though like they don't necessarily all believe, like there's just been like a lot of like visitors, if you will. So I do feel you.
I would tell a story, but I can't think of one where I'm not checking.
What?
Probably have to think on that.
I personally have a lot of stories, but the reason why I mentioned the one about coming out of the basement being dark is because those feelings, like feeling scared in a room by yourself, I think is a normal human intuition.
Yeah.
But because I know what that feels like, and I've overcome that, and I've had other interactions like that, but way serious, way
Wait,
more.
I missed yours. Remember that story because I would like to hear it another time. I'm sorry, I missed it.
No, I didn't tell it. I'm just saying that I know
Oh.
I've had situations like that before.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
This
I
one
remember,
time,
I remember being in the basement too, and I hear this creaking sound, and I was talking to this British woman, and she was saying, don't. And I said, geez, I've been trying to hunt this creaking sound down. And she says, no, don't. You're in the basement. You're in your basement. And she says, yeah. I said, yeah. And don't go there. Don't go there. I said, well, come, because people who go investigate creaking sounds and weird stuff in their basement get killed. So
yeah.
So you don't.
I mean, there's no reason to do it.
I've witnessed shadow people
let it
multiple
be.
times.
Yeah, so but
I did once.
see, the thing is, I'd been tracking this sound now for like a week. It just goes great. I think, what is that? And when I got close to it, it stops. So when I heard it again, I was talking to her on the phone, and I just quickly but very quietly ran to the spot, sort of as quick as I could without making any noise, to get to the spot I was last time, so I could track it down. Right. And she was freaking out, right? She's like, no, don't do it, don't do it. All right. Because I was getting close to the sound, I guess, and she was freaking out that I was gonna get, like, there was gonna be some big black hole in the abyss open up and I'm gonna be sucked into it or something. But didn't happen. It was just a pipe that was creaking, and I got a new front load washer, and the way the valves open and close, they slam pretty good, so it was creaking the pipe. Right.
That's good.
You didn't have any lights flickering.
Are you a midget?
No, I had no light. I had no lights flickering either. Right. I personally thought it was a critter chewing on something, and I was trying to hunt down the critter.
You sound like a midget.
Wait a second. You just reminded me that last night one of the light bulbs was blinking on and off in my apartment, and now it's not. I just realized that when you said the lights blinking.
Oh.
You guys ever experience like cold spots? Like you'll be just these random spots in the house where it's like unexplainably like
cold,
freezing cold.
Yeah, that's right
pretty
through a
strange.
spirit. You walked right.
That
through
sounds
a
like the
spirit.
only thing that can happen in the north, honestly. That's like there's
no
the equivalent here, like in the south, where it's like random hot spots. Like the rest house is like 75 degrees. There's one spot that's like really hot and like damp. I guess.
Yeah. You just walked through an opening that goes into hell. You were lucky you weren't sucked into there.
Oh, wait a second. I have a really good
That was
one.
part of
Bergie, you just reminded